thank you everybody for coming on. Thank you panelists for being here. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty stuff of like helping you guys get into these story trainee programs because everyone like on this panel, story artists, talented story artists went through that exact experience. And I know sometimes from the outside looking in, it could be like this mystery of just kind of like, I don't know anybody, I don't know any of the information, I don't even know what these trainee programs are like. We're here to dispel that for you and to help in any way we can and just kind of share our experiences and talk about it and hopefully at the end answer some of these questions. So having said that, thank you again. Nitty gritty. Yeah, I don't know if I even said that right.
Yeah.
Nitty gritty. So I'm honored, as always, to have as my co-moderator Angela Entzminger, who is a story artist at Nickelodeon. Angela is a TV writer and artist who has worked on My Adventures with Superman for HBO Max. Dope. The Loud House, and is currently working as a story artist on Santiago and the Seas for Nickelodeon, our friends and lovely people. So thank you for being here, Angela. We really
Thanks for having me,
it.
Bobby. Yeah, absolutely. So we will round robin and have our awesome panelists introduce themselves. So Apple, we will start with you.
Hi, my name is Apollonia Vick, but everyone calls me Apple. Yeah. Yes. Live in Washington. What's up? I got into the story training program at Netflix Animation, spring cohort represent. And right now I've been hired on as a revisionist on My Dad, the Bounty Hunter. So congrats for them.
Awesome, congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats.
They're so sweet on that project. They trained me and then they brought me on as a sweet little, revisionist. So
Apple, that's the best team.
Aw, they are. They're
I'm not gonna
that's
name.
what I've been told.
I was gonna name drop, but I was like,
Nah,
cool.
they're amazing. Yep.
Okay, and you can popcorn it to whoever you want, Apollonia.
Let's go, Jake. Do it.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. So, hello, my name is Jake Kim. I was at Nickelodeon Artist Program in 2018. And I was working on one of the Disney Junior show called Mira Royal Detective. And I'm currently on hiatus. I'm currently working on my personal project. And I'm trying to create my own content on my own YouTube channel right now. And please subscribe.
Love it.
Oh, awesome. Hillary, what about you?
Hello! Start off with energy and caffeine. I was a Disney story trainee, and I started in, I think it was a 2017 program, so I had a trainee through apprentice, and I met Walt Disney Feature Animation, and that's what I'm doing!
Whoa!
You were a trainee at Walt Disney Animation during 2017?
Yeah.
Dude, I was there. Dude, I was there as an intern at 2017.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang. All these intersecting paths we have going on in this in this room right now. What's going on?
I've been eating tachos, like the tater tot nachos next to each other at like a speech and not even known it.
Right? And it's like, look across the room, that one glance, and then we never saw each other again until now. Crazy.
It's okay. It's okay. We got back.
Reunited. So good.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Hillary. Hey, Chad. Hey, everybody. Let's sit down. Let's calm it down a little bit. Let's get a little cozy. All right. Let's get some tea and bring the energy down. My name is Mark. I'm Mark Galez, and I was a story trainee over at Blue Sky Studios, which, unfortunately shut down recently. But when I was there, I was on the Peanuts movie for a little bit, on Ferdinand for a hot second, and then worked on Cartoon Network stuff for like the last 4 years. I started on Clarence then hopped on different shows, went to Victor Valentino, Fungies, Craig of the Creek, all of that stuff. I've been in TV for a hot second. And then as a board artist, and then now I am a director at Netflix on a new show called Boons and Curses, and it's my first time directing, and it's super cool, super fun, a lot of hats to wear, but yeah, I don't know. It feels like I've been in it for a while, but it's a fun ride. You know, I'm loving it.
Wait a minute, is the first time you and Apollonia are like connecting? You guys are on the same show.
No. I'm on Boons and Curses. She's on Dad the Bounty Hunter.
Oh, that's right. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Sorry.
Because
Apologies, everybody.
you're good.
Love
All right.
Keep
All
moving
good.
forward. I didn't say that. We'll edit it out in post.
Yeah. We'll
Which
pretend
is-
didn't happen.
which isn't it?
Let's just restart the whole thing. The whole
Yeah,
panel.
Actually,
Let's scrap the whole thing.
Rewrite,
Sorry, guys.
rewrite.
actually, the whole panel's over. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Can you guys come back in the room? Sorry.
It's like,
we
if that was
messed up the
it.
whole
You've
thing.
met all of them. Good luck.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh my God.
I believe in you.
I did that.
We really, yeah, that's basically it. Just want to let you know, here's some really cool people.
Yeah.
They believe in you, and have a good rest of your Saturday, everybody.
Yes, that was all. That was it, guys. Thanks. I hope you came away inspired. But thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Congrats on the new gig, by the way.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yes. Thanks, y'all.
Nice. good.
So, Angela, what do you think? Do we want?
Yeah, so let's get into it. So one of the number one questions that I see in the Discord and chat from mentees from all over is, what do you even put in a story portfolio to get noticed? So very curious what it was that you guys put in your portfolios, what stories you chose to tell, and the length and genre of those stories, because that is a big thing that everybody always wants to know. So whoever wants to start first, go for it.
Yeah.
I'll go.
I'm actually. Go ahead.
I'll go. For me, what got me noticed was actually my short films. So I made short films during my times in my bachelor's and my master's because I really wanted to, learn how to write, and not only write to inspire a whole team to finish something to the end. And so when I was showing people my stuff, the first thing they would gravitate towards was my short films. So through that, people wanted to get to know me more. And then when I would put content on my portfolio site, I tried to keep it short and sweet. So that way, people click through it and then they're like, okay, cool. And then they can move forward with, taking you forward into interviews and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. I could bounce off of that. So for me, like, I didn't have a chance to make like a film when I was in school. Like, I had to just focus on like making my portfolio in a story class. And fortunately enough for me, like the teacher at the time, she works at Pixar. And so I was like super excited to take that class, and I formed my whole portfolio within that classroom. And the big thing that I took away from making it was like a big focus on personality, like trying to focus on channeling a lot of character into your portfolio, because, the work, I'll separate it where it's like channeling character and then what type of work is needed in a portfolio, right? So your personality adds a lot to your portfolio, and a lot of that stuff kind of goes unnoticed sometimes with students because they want to, make their work shine. But we want to see how you introduce your portfolio, like, hey, this is my portfolio, and you draw like a fun character of yourself, or like, how do you design your pages, and like, you kind of want your portfolio to also feel like a little story, a little brief like glimpse into who you are as a person,
Right.
because we want to see the kind of flavor of personality that you'll bring, and then that translates into your stories. And like, everyone has a different way of how they go about it. You could structure it where it's like you have 3 stories: personal story, action story, drama story, right? You could have 3 simple breakdowns like that. But I also like seeing different types of stories. So you could have comics, like short comics in there. If you're making a storyboard, you could record yourself pitching and put that onto your website. Any ways to kind of like help you guys stand out in your portfolio, because I feel like a lot of portfolios are starting to look a little similar these days, where it has a structured like personal, action, comedy, which those are good to have, But you want to figure out like if it's a personal story, like what's something that really shines out to you. If it's an action story, like how can you add, like what can you bring to an action show or to an action board? If it's a drama, what kind of things stand out to you? And so like, and then to add onto what you do with your portfolio, it's like making sure your portfolio matches the studio you're trying to go for, right? So for example, if I love SpongeBob and my board is very SpongeBob-esque and has comedy of SpongeBob, I'm not going to apply to Amazing Spider-Man Marvel show with my SpongeBob portfolio. It's just not going to be a right fit. And so you want to make sure the stuff that you're making is going to be a right fit for the studio that you are applying for. And a lot of time, like that kind of also goes unnoticed or kind of missed, and makes the student feel like insecure or bad that they didn't get the position. But sometimes it's like more of like a fit and a flavor that you're not matching rather than your own work.
Wow.
I can go next.
Go for it.
Yeah,
So-
go ahead.
I also try to create at least 3 stories that I can put in my portfolio, and I also try to put my thumbnail as well to to show how's my thought process and how's my rough drawing is going to be looks like. Also, I heard sometimes it's good to put animal drawings or gesture drawing in your portfolio as well. It's not going to be like a super mandatory, but it's one of the good things to show in your portfolio. And the genre that I choose was the comedy, because I heard most of the studio would like to see if I could, create a scene that can, make my audience laugh. So I think that was the thing that I was focusing on the most.
Right on. Yeah, that's great. Hillary, what do you think?
Yeah. I very much, yes, Jake, the animal drawings and, gesture drawings. And also if you're going for a story portfolio, making sure that those drawings just aren't like, I drew an anatomical body or a giraffe. It's what's the giraffe doing? What's the story behind those gestures? Like if you can add some character to it or some kind of point of interest that shows that you are a story artist, even if like that's not actually what was happening while you were like drawing the animal. Nobody's gonna know. You can just be like, oh yeah, this giraffe was like totally stealing somebody's ice cream, or like you can make stuff up. Just give it a story. My portfolio was kind of all over the place, to be honest. It was because I'd been working in television before I decided to go into the trainee program. I had been storyboarding in television and I even directed in television, and I had it was like all over the place. It was like really cartoony stuff, and then there was some princess stuff, and there was some like action show stuff, and it was kind of, I just sort of had like this weird collage of different styles in my board. But I think the stuff that was personal was the stuff that I'm glad that I put in. Like just things that I found interesting, like the animal drawings. I had like a ton of horses in my portfolio because I love horses, and I was like, I just want to draw horses. Here you go. And I also I got like really into like the Salem witch trials for a while, and I was like making these comics about like these very grim stories where these ladies died, and I was like, this is great. I'm gonna put this in my portfolio. And it worked out. So I think, if you just have, like what I had was a bunch of very professional work. And the thing about like your professional work is it can, the needs of the show will sort of determine what kind of style you have it done in. And, they might be looking for something, particular at a studio that might not be a part of the shows that you've worked on if you're applying to a training program after having worked. So I think, showing that like personal flair, the things that you're interested in and that you gravitate towards, it really shows a lot about your sensibilities. And it's almost like a little pre-interview to the interview, because people get a sense of like, oh, this is what you think is funny.
Totally. I just wanted to bounce off of like Hillary's comment, because like, she's drawing and making comics and stories of things that she likes personally, right? And it's like, those are the things that you really want to channel into your portfolio. It's like, who are you? What's your whole deal? Like, what are you about? And even having like figure drawings and like animal drawings are great, but also like having some sketch pages too along with it. Like, what do you like to draw? Like what goes on in your mind, because that's always like the fun thing when artists when artists meet up with one another, it's like, hey, can I see your sketchbook? And then like you kind of just get a brief, like kind of like a summary of like who this person is by like looking through their stuff. And people like to see that in portfolios.
Your voice. Right?
Yeah, your voice.
Your own kind of voice that you could bring and just be able to speak about, right?
And it's like, and it's also okay to not understand your voice fully, because your voice is this ongoing thing that you're trying, like, who am I? That's the ongoing question, right?
No,
but like,
I can't.
I know, that's a whole different topic. That's like a life.
Oh, now I don't have the answer.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. But it's like,
this is the part, Mark, where we get into the who are you. So this is an intervention. I want you to lay down.
Thank goodness.
And
He did this.
Take a deep breath.
Oh. But you know, it is your voice at the end of the day, and it doesn't have to be really defined. It's just like, you know, where you're at in that moment. And like for your personal stories, like just to kind of get specifics, like a story that I chose was like when I first got like a Nintendo 64 for Christmas, you know, and storyboarding that, because it was such a vivid memory for me. And so it's like, if you're going to board a personal story, have something that, you know, it's really connecting to you, and like something that really, I don't know, like something that you could that's easy for you to think back on, because when you board it and when you draw it, we're going to feel like that memory through how you're telling that story, you know? And yeah, because like, I don't know, training portfolios are so like hard to like nail down, but if you're putting as much character of yourself in it, you know, I think that'll make you stand out from a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's that. All right.
We solved it. This is everything you need. No.
Yeah.
That's it.
So that's good to hear. So then let's talk about then the interview part, because for a lot of folks, okay, the story part, you can work on that, you can train for that, you can take classes, but then you're in a room, or now you're on Zoom, having to talk to actual humans. And for a lot of these trainee programs, it's not just one interview. Sometimes it's several people in a room. So how did you prepare for that?
This is a weird little tip, but I don't know, it helps me. Phone interviews, I'm an energetic person. It helps me to walk around with the phone, or like I'm at my desk right now, I can stand at it. So even if I'm on Zoom, I can be standing up, and it just helps me a little bit. Like, that's a tiny thing. That's not even the prep for what questions anybody will ask, but that stuff matters. It helps.
Yeah, it's like making yourself feel comfortable, right? Like, I don't know. It's like interviews are so like studio interviews are so, they're very casual, honestly. Like they're not like, it's not like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? You know, tell me now. It's like,
And then
it's
they
kind of like,
click a
how's
pen
your
and
day
they
going?
start.
It's like it's very low key and more casual. I feel like the interviews it's like a conversation, because like the team bringing you on wants to know what kind of person you are, you know, like, and it's like very understandable for you to be nervous and to be a little bit of like a nervous wreck, but you know, it's important to be able to handle yourself. And like, it's like you're catching up with a friend that you never met that could potentially hire you. I don't know, it's like a weird scenario, but like, it's
That is true. I do want to interject there, because the longer you're in the industry, you will actually start interviewing with people you are friends with and people you know. But that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a
They
good
already
thing.
know you,
know,
so.
Yeah, everyone's nice, honestly. So I mean, just, you know, like you prep a little bit of like what you're gonna say when it's like, oh, tell me about yourself, right? Like that kind of question. But it's not a thing that's like so strict. It's definitely like more of like a casual conversation on personality.
And if I may jump off of that too, it's not only how I had to see it was like not just me being interviewed by the interviewers, but I'm also seeing them too. Like, do I vibe with them too? Do I,
100%.
can I become comfortable enough to have a conversation? You know, can I relate to these people too? And then it's like, you're both testing the water to see if like, okay, can we jive together? that kind of thing. So I personally had to think about it that way. And even though I was totally intimidated, totally, you look these people up, who, and you start being like, oh my God, my childhood was in their hands, you just like, but it's also like trying to relate to them, like, oh yeah, you're also human who eats sandwiches like I do, unless you're gluten-free and it's fine. So it's like, yeah, so that's how I had to, when I did the interview process. And for me, I also am like Hillary, and I get like super hyped and energized. So I had to like learn how to breathe and work on not talking like 100 miles an hour, like I'm trying to do right now. So there we go.
Yeah. No, that's great. Jake, what do you think? Do you have some how you prepped?
For me, I don't know, like I always consider myself as a shy person. So during my interview, my number one mission is to hide my true color to these people. So I don't know, like yes, even now I get nervous to to facing all of these people. But I guess practice is also help. Like before I meeting these people, I just keep repeating the same thing, like introducing myself and where did I graduate from, and yeah, and keep telling myself to breathe and just smile all the time. So yeah, just like right now.
Listen, that's
You're awesome, Jake.
Thank you.
The best.
You're
so good.
You're great at it, and also that was the most adorable like prep thing I've ever heard. I'm the same way, Jake. Like I can't go into a pitch or interview without rehearsing at all. Like I would never, like if I went into a pitch like unrehearsed, I would just like fumble and crash and burn. So I'm like you, Jake. Like I need to practice saying, hi, my name is Bobby. I'm a designer and show creator, and I have to practice it. I definitely have to do.
Thank you so much. I even prepared for this.
Oh no! I love it. He's like, I'm thoughts.
I love it.
Got your
ready.
notes.
My brain
Relatable.
freeze, and so if you see this, that means
Fantastic.
I have nowhere to go and just reading all this.
Oh, yes.
So relatable. You're so
For real.
relatable.
Yes. I just know it's going to be awesome and super thoughtful now. I'm like, this is going to be good.
I know.
I could never trust myself to leave it up to chance, because like if I leave it up to chance, I'm just gonna botch it. But anyway, yeah.
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 I-
Go ahead.
I remember when I went to do I was remembering something. It was when I went to do like my Disney interview, and I finally gotten into that building and, walking down the halls and just sort of seeing art on the walls, like, oh my God, I'm here right now. And I was just so, I don't know, I just tried to be jazzed to be there. I was just so excited that I finally got to be there. And when the interview was over, I was just kind of like, that was nice. Well, I got to see the inside of the building, so that was good. So if nothing happens, that was cool that I got to see art on the walls, and then it turned out okay. So I think also like it's cool when you get an interview somewhere, and so also enjoy part of it that you get to be there, and it's for cartoons, and cartoons are cool, and it's hard because you're nervous, but it's also really cool and special.
Yeah. And did you have like something to add to that, or what do you think?
Yeah, well, all I'd like to add is something that's always helped me is just going online or just making a list of questions that I think they might ask, and then either writing it down or just at least having in my mind an idea of, okay, if they ask X, Y, and Z, here's what I will say. Because there's so, if you just type in interview questions, you will find so many websites, so many PDFs that'll list all kinds of different things, and that's really helpful. And then honestly, on the other side, because I've interviewed people now for jobs when I worked at Nick, and on the other side of the table, we know that y'all are nervous, and that's okay. Like we're not shocked or surprised if you guys are nervous, if you fumble, if you don't always know what to say. Like we're expecting that, so that's okay. So if you go into an interview and you feel like, oh my gosh, there was just this moment of intense silence, it's fine. Trust me when I tell you it's totally fine. And really what we're looking for is like what Apple said and like what Garnet had said at the internship panel, you know, the vibe check. It's, do we feel like they'd be a good fit with the team? Are they enthusiastic about the show? Do they have knowledge about the show? Does their work ethic, you know, prove to us that, oh, they would do a really good job? That's really what we want. We just want to make sure that you guys are, you know, nice, that you're nice and that you'll do the work.
Yeah.
I do have a question though. So
Yeah.
also the thing that I recognized also was like asking questions like at the end of the interview and like, do you have any questions? Actually having a question to have was probably also good. So is that good?
That's huge. We
Yeah,
love
no.
that. Honestly, we
Yeah,
do love that. You don't want to go in and they say, do you have any questions? You go like, no, I'm good. It's like, oh no, like have something.
Yeah,
You know?
anything, you know,
Yeah,
it could be
any-
something
really-
simple. What's your
yeah.
favorite Smash Bros character? You know, like anything, like that's
Yeah,
just to kinda get
good one that always works is, what do you like about working here? That's a good one
Whoa,
because
that's-
one, it shows that, hey, I care about you. And two, if they don't have an answer, that might be a tell. Be like, oh wait, maybe they don't want to be here. And maybe I don't want to be here, you know?
Gives hard eye contact when asked that question.
yeah.
Yeah, just intense
Yeah.
stare.
Amazing. What do you think, Ange? Do we want to move into like ask about like what their actual programs were like?
Yeah, so then this is the big thing. What exactly are you doing? Because every program is different. Like some
Yeah.
programs are more like a class. Sometimes they just throw you in and be like, congrats, you're now on the show. Good luck. So what was the program like for y'all?
I can go first.
Yeah,
So
go
for
ahead,
me,
Jake.
Go for it.
for first month, we were just focusing on the interviewing this artist and director at Nickelodeon. So I can get to, you know, ask all of these questions like, you know, how does it, what does it like about, you know, about working at Nickelodeon and what are you guys doing and how do you end up, you know, getting into this job? And also, we were also making some art book for the program to make some giveaway during the CTN. And yeah, that was a really fun thing to do. Also, I was working as a storyboard revisionist for this show called Shimmer and Shine. And they put me on one mentor named Ricky Santana, and he was keep, you know, directing me and keep giving me assignment that I can do during this program.
Very
Yep.
cool, thanks.
For me on my program, because it was like a feature mentorship and a traineeship. And so it was like, I believe it was like an 8-week program. And the first 4 weeks, we were working on a mock film script and we're working with like a pseudo director and just emulating what the process of working on feature would be like. And so it was me and the 3 other trainees. So there's only 4 of us. And we would just like sit down and break up the scripts and just kind of like go forth and try boarding what we were given. And each of us were given a mentor to work with, to bounce ideas off of and to ask questions. And the mentors were like, you know, the storyboard artists, the story team at the studio. And so we could just go up to them, ask them anything that we needed help on or any thoughts. And, you know, it was pretty intimidating because it felt like it was like I'm working with people that like, oh yeah, I worked on Iron Giant, I worked on Lion King. I'm like, what? Like you're actually human here in front of me. Like, so it's like so valuable to be able to ask these people any question that you have on your work process. It's like school 2.0, like college 2.0, you know, like on the job. And so working on the first 4 weeks was like a huge like crash course on storyboarding. And then the later half, the 4 weeks after, we were put onto an actual feature and we would sit in a story room and actually like see what it was like and contribute to like a story discussion. And as a trainee, it's so intimidating, you know, because you feel like, I don't know, like I'm just like learning how to do all of this and they're asking me what I think about this scene. I don't know, but it's very valuable to because like that's the job. Like you know, when you get into it, it is those discussions. It is, you know, breaking scenes down like that. And so I learned a lot of just like how to be able to talk, how to be able to communicate with my mentor, and then also with the fellow trainees that I was with. Like, I'm glad like they put all four of us in the same room. So if we're all like kind of like, guys, my scene's not working out, I don't know what to think about it, and they'll like look at it and be like, dude, you're fine, like it looks great, and like we could also bounce ideas off of each other. So it was like a really great experience just to kind of understand the process, understand the types of people that work there. And, at the end of the day, it was that feeling. I'm like, oh, I'm just making cartoons with like all these other people that love making cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely like a hard program to get into as well, or to go through as well, because it made me realize how lacking of skills that I have and how lacking of technique that I required. But, that's why you're there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and those mentors ended up becoming friends after a while.
Yeah, wow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. Like Hillary or Apollonia, do you guys want to go through, because like Disney and Netflix, do you guys want to talk about how that training program was? Like what your experience was?
Yeah, so I did both. I did a Disney internship and then the Netflix training program. And the internship I was thrown into feature. So basically they had us do one movie all together in this one, like the intern school, space. And after I got to board for the movie, the short, I was put up against like, okay, now board, now pitch it to the story artist. Okay, now pitch it to all the trainers, all the mentors. All right, now pitch it to your team and do re-edits and all that good stuff using the program and learning a lot about gesture and all that good stuff until we had the final film and they gave me scripts. So I would just keep boarding and boarding until time's up, summer's done. All right, everybody go home. Yeah, you make friends and connections. And at Netflix, I was basically, they're like, all right, here's the first month. You're totally going to not feel like you're not doing anything, but that's exactly what we want you to think. Because a lot of the people who come into the training program are fresh out of school or are working so hard at 100 miles per hour. So they want you to like basically like calm down for a hot minute. And just study the show you're on. Just study it, get to know the programs, get to know your mentor, and they bring in guests. My mentor basically brought in his friends, so I got to meet them, and I got to meet, because I had a storyboard mentor, then I also had the line producer as my mentor as well, so I got to see both his perspective as a story artist and her perspective as the overall managing the whole project. And so I would be able to like be in on the meetings, like what's it called, like episode launches and like editorial edits and the pitches, and so that was a great like experience to like learn from gently watching. And then when my mentor said I was ready to be thrown into the fire, he was like, all right, now start asking directors for revisions, start like making sure they know you exist, even though they know I exist. But yeah, learning how to be, because I did all of my training program online, so I haven't met a lot of these people in person until maybe last week. Met some people, but I think overall, like it was very much a let's fix your draftsmanship. Let's get you, as my mentor put it, he said, it was Mike Maloney. He basically said, we're going to make you a craftsman, because revisions aren't just about, you're not like writing everything necessarily. It's like, how do you become the director's hand? How do you become like, be able to take their notes and apply it in a quick manner so they can keep doing their turnaround from their notes that they get from the EPs. So it's just, yeah, so it was a lot of good things like that. And of course you have your trainee cohort and, when you cry together, and like share, like we're all in different shows, but we're all together trying to just really understand like the networking, the people, the, being able to draw together and all that good stuff. So yeah, making a lot of friends and just learning about it, different people at Netflix and also outside of it too. So yeah, so I think that's the basicness of my training program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Excellent.
And what do you
Awesome.
think, Hillary?
I love, like, there's sort of this like common thread that's the trainee cohort, which I have to agree that was like one of my favorite parts about, you know, being a trainee at Disney. It's, you know, you have kind of like a group of people that you're working with throughout the program. I think there were 5 of us, yeah. And you just become friends, and we all had this like little workspace that we were, you know, on the first floor together, just sort of like drawing our scenes. Yeah, the cohort is awesome. It's a wonderful bonding experience, just being with the other trainees and learning. But for the Disney Story Training Program, it goes like training program and then apprenticeship. And the training program, you're kind of just like building your skills, drawing mini scenes, coming up with sort of short, like subject sort of storyboards on your own. And then the apprenticeship, you're put on some movies and you're sort of working underneath the story artist. You get mentors, but you have like your assigned mentor for sort of the program. And then once you get on the movies, you get paired with mentors that are on the specific movies. So my mentor for the training program was Joe Mateo, and he was awesome. I absolutely love that man. He was incredible. And yeah, we were mostly just given sort of prompts for the training portion, like do a story that is, you know, an action scene, do like draw a goodbye. And we would actually like come up with the ideas, the designs, like write our own sort of mini scenes for those assignments. And I really loved that part. That was like the most fun for me, was to just like have no restraints and just be like, I'm arty, I'm gonna do my ideas, no one can tell me what to do. But they can't if they're a mentor, so that's different. But but it was really fun to, you know, just be able to sort of stretch and you know, you can kind of make it your own a little bit. Each time I got a scene, I wrote a script for it because I was like, I want to see if I can learn how to write, you know, screenplay format. And so I would write each assignment that I did. And then once I got onto the apprentice level, I worked on Frozen 2 under Sunmi. Sunmi Jo was my mentor, and she was amazing. And then Encanto after that. And then I moved on to being a board artist on Encanto. It was a good time. It was a good time. Really awesome mentors, and the trainee cohort was the absolute best. They're friends forever.
Right. No, that's awesome. I mean, like, can you, that's really interesting, just kind of like getting into the writing aspect. I hope, Angela, if you don't mind, like me taking a little bit of a left turn a little bit, but like,
yeah, go for it.
I read some things, and, you know, some, you know, friends of ours have like, even Paul Briggs, of just kind of like, you know, like if you want to be a board artist, like sharpen your writing skills. And Angela, this is right in your alley, but like, you know, as an artist, like coming up, I never really thought about that, like writing aspect of it, but like, can you guys speak to whoever kind of feels compelled to it, of like the importance of like sharpening your writing skills as it pertains to a storyboard artist?
Ooh, that's a big one. I like that question a lot, because like it's very true. Like not a lot of people think about the writing aspect when you're storyboarding, because it's like visual. It's like a visual showcase, you know, like so much perspective, drawing characters, posing, animating.
Yeah,
but when it comes down to it,
yeah,
there's so much to juggle. But when it actually comes down to it, it is writing. You are like, that's like the big thing that I learned working on being a trainee at a feature studio. It's like we all sit down and talk about like, so what's the arc of this character? What's the relationship that this character has with one another? You know, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. I thought you just wanted me to draw stuff, like, but that's the actual thinking. Like we need to, like, as a story artist, it is story first, and the writing aspect is what is hidden underneath the drawings, because we need to understand where characters are at emotionally. We need to understand friendships. We need to understand different perspectives. What's their goal? You know, what's their obstacle? And, you know, really understanding the stories that you gravitate towards, or if you're watching a movie and you're kind of like, oh, that scene felt weird, I didn't like that, and then questioning why didn't that work for me, or like, oh, that was really funny, why was that funny, how did that make me laugh? And like, that's the writing aspect, you know, like a lot of those scenes that you see in movies that, like, you know, that you love and you cry at or laugh at, those started out in the writer's room, and people needed to sit down and think how those scenes would progress. And so having that at the backbone of your drawings will just help I don't know, it'll help give your drawings more depth, I guess, like more emotional impact. Like, and it's not even just like a story thing, like being a story artist. Like, you know, if you're just drawing in general, you want to understand what it is you're drawing from, you know, what experience or story that you're trying to pull from, and channel that into your drawing. Even if you're designing a character, oh, this character is like an evil villain person, right? And so like, what kind of things would they do? What kind of things did they eat? Where do they live? Do they live in the swamps? And like, and that affects the outcome of your design, right? So it's like the writing is such like a huge invisible, like it's almost like an invisible like thing hidden underneath the drawings. But that's what really we really gravitate towards when we watch these movies or shows.
Mhm.
I can actually speak to that as well, because during my time in school, and it also translated into the training program, was the idea of if you can tell a story, you'll be able to be a better story artist, because you're learning the story. I feel artist is about learning the language of how do you tell visually the emotions in the story of what someone's going through. And if you understand what they're actually going through, your visual storytelling can be more impactful. And so it's like studying the language of how people tell, like horror or comedy or romantic is important. And so when I made my films, I tried to really make sure that I was able to convey to the audience of like, okay, did I make them feel the way I felt, you know? So I think that's like a beautiful mesh of those kind of things. So learn how to write, or at least understand the basics of writing, so you can tell better stories, like as Mark said, through your drawings. People can see and notice that.
So true. I feel like it also, like if you're in big sort of feature story rooms, or even in TV, like, and you're working closely with writers, or you're in meetings with writers, knowing how to speak their language, and it helps with the collaboration so much, and to read a script and to sort of be able to pinpoint maybe the spots in the story that aren't working as well, and you know, instead of just being like, I don't like this, like if you can put words to it, and you can say, oh, I don't think this is working because it doesn't hook up to this earlier thing. It makes you better at just working with the group.
That's awesome.
And
Jake, go ahead.
even if you don't know how to write at this moment, I think it's so easy to learn from the internet now these days. Like when I was studying the storyboarding for the first time, I literally typed how to storyboard in YouTube. Yeah, that's how I learned, because my school didn't actually have a storyboarding class. So I believe if you just go to Google or YouTube and just type how to write, I believe there's so many content video that you can learn from it, and learn some basic stuff.
There's also like a lot of books too that you could get from just like like script writing, or like I don't know, foundational like character writing stuff, because you don't need, because it's not to say that you're not going to learn the writing on the job either, because like I've definitely, for me, I didn't understand or study any writing stuff. I'm like, I'm just here to draw pictures, but as soon as I like started boarding on Clarence, and like we were given the script, and like my board partners was like, hey, so what do you think about what Clarence is going through in this scene? Do you think he should be like happier here? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And we started like getting more into discussions, and it made me realize, I'm like, oh, this is the job. Like having these talks and understanding these scenes is where the job starts from. And so I definitely learned as I went through, but so it's like something you could pick up along the way for sure. But if you get started on it now, like it's just going to benefit you more as you go through it.
I want to jump in and talk about this because I love this. I love this topic. I love boarding.
Yeah.
I love writing. That could be a whole discussion, but I'll keep it short. Agreeing with what everybody said. It can only help you to learn how to write. Writing can be very fun. It can be very challenging. And like everyone said, definitely learn how to do it. Best way personally to learn how to do it, read scripts. I did not go to school for screenwriting. I am a screenwriter now. Didn't go to school for it. I took one script writing class and one comic writing class outside of school. Everything I learned about script writing, I learned from reading, I don't know, like 100 or so scripts and listening to screenwriting podcasts and I just went to Barnes and Noble before I had any money, and I would just sit in the aisle during my lunch break, and I read like 5 screenwriting books, like in the aisle of Barnes and Noble. Thank you, Barnes and Noble, when I had no money. So just learn how to do it. And you know, people talk about the emotional arcs of the characters and whatnot. That's so important because in a story, you have the text and you have the subtext. You have the, this is what's happening. This happened and this happened and this happened, hooray. But then you have the underlying current of, but why is the character doing this? But what does this mean to the character? But what does this mean to the group? But how are they feeling about it? And writing can help you understand that. And also as a storyboard artist, if you know how to write, you'll get along better with the writers on your team and they'll get along better with you because those are similar skills, but also different skills. So if you understand the language, there'll be less animosity between the two of you. You'll be able to work a lot more collaboratively. And like Hillary said, you'll also understand when to make certain changes. It won't just be, I don't like this. It'll be, hey, I need to make sure that if the writers set this up at the beginning, that we have a scene that includes that in the end, because if we don't, the story will break. Or you can, you know, this actually happened yesterday. The writer had a really cool scene, and I realized if we include that scene, we're going to add a lot of extra time to an 11-minute episode that we don't have. And so then that's the thing where you can then talk to the writers and directors and say, hey, this is really cool, but this like 3 sentences in the script is going to equal 2 minutes of screen time that we don't have. So that's a thing that you can learn how to do if you learn how to write. So definitely recommend it for foreigners. And like Mark said, you don't have to be great at it. You don't have to write a zillion scripts. Just kind of understand the basics of it can only help you.
I super connect with that last part where you're like, these couple of words, they mean a lot of time. I've talked to other board artists about this phrase before, but there's like 4 words where if you read them, you're like, oh no, that's going to be a lot. And it's like when something says like all hell breaks loose, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And then they fight. I'm like, no.
Action
Don't want
ensues.
You're working all night.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so funny. I never heard that one before, Hillary. That makes total sense. That could be 40 pages of like stuff.
Yeah.
It happens and it's really funny. Oh, I gotta figure out what's funny here.
Totally.
Right. Oh my gosh. Angela, what do you think? Next, what do you want to go into?
Yeah. So here's a big one. So then you complete the program. Congrats. But now you either got hired full-time or you're now looking for a job when the program ends. What then? What happens when it's all over and you're no longer a part of, you know, that group of people?
I can go first because I literally just went through that. I am fresh onto this project, not even a month in. Is that all right?
That's all right.
Go for it.
This happened.
So-
It happened.
That's perfect.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So during my training program, what my mentor was really trying to hammer into me was, we're going to make sure you have portfolio pieces. So that way, he's like, the first job, you know, that's already difficult. You got the first job. But he's like, the second job is probably the hardest job to get because no one knows you. You're no longer like wee babu on a project and you need to be able to jump on another thing where, you know, and so he's like, all right, let's make sure you have these pieces that get you the next step of your career. So for me, you know, I was lucky enough to have, you know, dad be able to, because in a training program at Netflix, they prepare you to jump onto that project. But there have been some trainees where the project either shuts down or, you know, they're not ready to have that position. And so, you know, using your mentors and your network that you've built in the training program to ask for, you know, put out the feelers and ask your mentor to, hey, can you help me find someone? Because I think that's the majority of how the work is done. Like, hey, so-and-so knows me, can you recommend me, kind of thing. So yeah, that is how I got on to dad, but they already knew me because there's such a nice team. So I got lucky.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like definitely like, like the word like networking is such a big thing, but I like to turn that word into like friendships. Like
Yeah.
networking is friendships. Like,
Friendships, please, dear
yeah,
God. I can't
yeah,
handle
because it's
networking.
like these are people. These are people. So don't forget that. But like on your traineeship, and like the bonds that you make with the other trainees and your mentors, like that's super key. Because like yeah, like what Apollonia was saying is, these people are going to help you along your way, because that's what happened to me, where like at the end of my trainee program, they only ended up hiring one of the trainees out of the four of us, and so the rest of us needed to find work. And so at that point, you can't help but feel a little defeated, right? You're kind of like, oh, like I was hoping, but that's just kind of how it goes. But luckily, it made me realize, like, I'm so glad that I got to really know my mentors, because they're kind of like, oh, dude, I know the recruiter over at DreamWorks or at Nickelodeon. Like, I could just send your work over to them. Oh, they're actually looking for some people on the show. Here, let's get you some tests going. And like within the next week, I was taking like 2 story tests for stuff, and so it's like really that whole process after the traineeship was like a very like scary. I remember it being a very scary feeling, because you're so close to getting in and all that, and you're kind of like, oh no, I didn't get that training mentorship. What does that mean? But being able to for your friends to help you out in that is what really helped me in that, because like I was going through a lot of doubt. I'm like, oh man, I'm not cut out for this. But then they got me some story tests for DreamWorks TV, and I was like, all right, let me do this, because like um I had like a month where I didn't work yet, right after the training was done, or training mentorship was done. And so like I was like, okay, I did this DreamWorks test. All right, yeah, they like my work. Oh, they're considering on hiring me. Awesome. And then Cartoon Network hits me up. They're kind of like, hey, do you want to take a test for our show? And at that point, I was like, no, it's Cartoon Network. I'm not ready for that. That's like my dream studio. I don't think I'm cut out. I'm okay with DreamWorks. Because I got it for sure. But my friend was like, dude, just take the test. You never know, man. Like, you could just see what happens. And so I ended up taking the test. And I actually ended up getting a storyboard position from that, because like DreamWorks TV was like, hey, we're going to give you a revisionist position. But then Cartoon Network was like, hey, we're going to give you a storyboard artist position. And so I was like, oh shit, I don't know what to, so I had to like, talk with DreamWorks to make sure that like it's okay if I, go to a different studio because of the different position. But I wouldn't have had those opportunities come my way if I didn't, reach out to my mentors, if I didn't have help and encouragement from the fellow trainees at the time. And, those looking back, it's like, yeah, if I was like by myself on that, I feel like I would have just like doubted myself and not go forward with it, So it's important to like, when you're networking and meeting people, even in college too, it's like, these are people that are going to be working with you in the industry, and just treat everybody nicely. And like, everyone is like genuinely they want to help one another and stuff. So as long as you carry that attitude throughout your traineeship, that will help you when you do need to reach out to your network for a job.
Cool, thanks. That was excellent advice. Anyone else want to share their words of wisdom? Jake, you look like you're ready.
Yes. For me, before my program was ending, I actually took a storyboard test from multiple shows at Nickelodeon. And luckily, one of the producers called me and wanted to, have an interview with me. And then the director really liked my work, and they wanted to hire me as a storyboard artist. And first time I thought, oh man, I was thinking about becoming a revisionist, and why they're making a storyboard artist. I'm not ready for this yet. And I was like, are you sure? But yeah, because I was too nervous. I wasn't, trusting myself to, move to that next level yet. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to, give it a shot and, see where it goes. So after I took that job, I just literally asking a lot of questions to every single people in that same floor. So it's like, hey, how does it look? How does it look? Like bothering all people around me. And yeah, and I think that's how I made my friend. We kind of like share our experience, and they're teaching me, I teach them sometimes, and yeah, that's how I got that job and how we build our friendship.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Love it.
Hillary, go ahead.
I got real lucky and I was able to stay on at the same studio, but I remember there was this really anxiety full wait time where, you know, you do like your final pitch and then you sort of wait to see if you're kept on or not. And that was hard. And so in those moments of nervousness, just do the art that you want to do the fun personal side projects that can help with that stuff. But yeah, not everybody got kept on, which is sad because I miss them, but you know, they found other jobs fairly quickly. You know, after going through a training program, it's kind of like you got this like second degree almost, you know, it's like having a master's or like your PhD in some kind of art thing that's within a studio. So, you know, if you make it through something like that and you don't have a job, you still accomplish something like really huge, and you've got skills, and don't forget that you got like really amazing skills from that and that you're super cool.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Angela? Do you want to jump on to
One more.
Q&A
I want to
stuff?
ask this because this is a question that
Yes.
a couple of people have in the Q&A, and also I think if we answer this question now, it'll answer like about 50 other people's questions. Okay, so when you're in the program, how did you deal with stress, imposter syndrome, anxiety? You're now working with your heroes. You have the Rolodex of all of their work in your head. So they're like, hi, my name is Bob. And you're like, I know every single thing about you. You don't know anything about me. Is that weird? That's not weird, right? Like, how did you just deal or not deal? Maybe you like flamed out and didn't deal with that well at all. So how would you deal with that now, looking back?
I laid on the floor so many times. At home, I was just like, oh my God. And I just literally just collapsed on the ground.
Oh,
yeah.
that's a good question, man. It's
Yes.
hard. On my traineeship, I remember like doubting myself so much, like to the point where I'm like, am I cut out for storyboarding? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I should just be a comic art. Maybe I should just go back to school or something. I don't know if I'm ready for this, because like it's very daunting, but I don't know. It's such a like a crazy balancing act, because like that's also just the sense of doubt and insecurity is part of being an artist too, you know, like that's something that you're going to be carrying with you throughout your journey. And the way I dealt with it was just definitely a lot of venting to my fellow trainees, because we all had periods of it. Like, you know, one week it's like, dude, I'm killing my scene, my boards look great, it's feeling good. But then your friend's like, dude, I'm a mess, man, I don't know, this is crazy. And then like the next week they're feeling good, but then like you're a mess. And so it's like, you know, it's definitely good to that like trainee mentorships are usually done in groups, because like feel like you could definitely share experiences with one another to help you guys through it. And like also that's also a big thing, that why mentors are also there too. It's not just for work, but like mentors are a big sense of guidance, and they give you a big sense of like experience where they've been there before, you know. And I remember my mentor, she told me like, you know, these are just part of the battle scars that you kind of get used to. Like the sense of fear is always going to be there. It never goes away, but you just become more comfortable with it as you go through it, you know. And like I would always like hang on to that bit of advice when I would be in my low points. And I'm like, all right, this is just part of it. Like I just have to go through it. And then, you know, once the program was done and looking at where I am now and how much I've been through, I'm kind of like, it wasn't that bad. Like it, you know, I did it. Like I could look back and be like, hey, I went through it. I feel good. You know, my friends were there for me, and like, it wasn't too bad. And like, you know, you just need to kind of hit those walls, because it'll help you grow at the end. But not to say that you should sacrifice your health and well-being at the same time. Take care of yourself. Like for real, artists need to stretch. We need to stand up. We need to like not just lay away at our drawing table, because
Seriously.
we are also human beings with
Go outside.
lives. Go outside. You know, it's okay to drink a beer. It's okay to go take a walk. You know, the drawing table will still be there. Like, take care of yourself through hard times. You know, stretch, exercise. It gives you longevity to keep doing what you do. You know, so yeah, be healthy. You know. Work out like Bobby, you know.
Yeah.
That's true.
Be swole. Like
We've all
Bobby.
seen Bobby's Instagram. This is no joke. He takes care of himself. I like Roberto in the chat. He just goes, "Go outside." What is that? It's like, oh, no.
Yeah. I get you, Roberto. I get you.
It's kind of like VR, but you can touch things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's very interesting. I mean, like the mental health stuff. I mean, one of the things I remember about being in a training program was just the pressure of just kind of like, I couldn't sleep at night, of just kind of like every waking moment you're thinking about whatever you're working on, whether it's an animation test, design test, or a story test. And, you know, the only thing that kind of kept me sane, like Mark said, was just like venting to my other, instead of, you know, it's kind of, it might sound counterintuitive, but instead of looking at them as competition, my other design trainees, it's like, guys, I'm falling apart here. I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm going with this drawing.
You bond in the trenches.
You know,
the camaraderie you need.
Yeah, you bond in the trenches, you know. And that's something that is conducive to when you get into the industry anyway. It's not just you. It's the people to the left and right of you. I'm just kind of like, guys, I'm falling apart. I don't even know where I'm going with this design. And but yeah, I mean, like just being open to that, kind of being vulnerable. I think, I don't know, someone else talk. I mean, like, it's not about me, but like,
I guess I'll just add to that is like what you're feeling, everybody else has felt and is currently feeling. You are not alone. Like you are, even like my mentors and everyone else I would talk to, you know, the leadership, you know, all that stuff. Same thing. Everyone gets nervous. Everyone's terrified of each other, but in like in an admiring kind of way, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's okay. Like, meaning how I had to do that was always think of that perspective. I'm like, okay, they're just like me. You know, we're all human. We're all artists, awkward in the corner. Some of you guys are great at parties. Some of us aren't, you know?
It's all a facade.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and, you know, you gotta just breathe and know. And those who are like coming out of school, because I was in school for like 10 years, like college in 10 years, I knew that grind constantly. First off, your training program is not going to be as intense as college, where you're not taking like 7 courses. That's how I got, like, that was one of the peak hardest times. You're not taking 7 courses on different subjects all at once. You're in one kind of focus. So it's like, breathe. You're not slowing down. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not getting less done. It's like you're actually learning the nuts and bolts of what you're supposed to learn versus like being spread out. So you're chill. It's okay. Like, look at yourself. If you looked at like some other person, be like, hey, you're going to be okay, sir. Just always look at yourself. Like, that's what helped me, is like, oh, wee babu, who is also me. You're going to be okay. Like, it's okay. Drink that tea. You're allowed to put down the tablet and go home for a hot minute, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We just need to just instate, you know, tea time.
Yes.
Every
time.
day. Tea time.
I'm so down for that.
Yeah.
Plus with biscuits.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Delish.
Biscuits or cookies. Yeah, and you guys, like, real talk, showrunners feel this way.
Yeah.
I've talked to
yeah.
showrunners and producers and directors. They feel the same way. It's
You-
not like you get to a certain level and you go, I have now achieved bliss. No more anxiety ever again. No, because they're running the entire show. So they go home and they're just like, okay, I need to do right because like 60 people are depending on me to make sure they still have a job tomorrow. So at a certain level, everyone has that tension. So you're not alone in this.
I'm so happy that I wasn't the only one who was feeling this way. I guess I get this nervousness and anxiety all the time because I have this bad habit that I'm trying to be perfect all the time. Like my expectation about me is like high up there. And yeah, I guess I was thinking like this because I got this job, I got this animation industry so hard. Like it was so difficult. So I was thinking if I make just one mistake, I'm just out of here. So I guess that kind of pressure and that kind of, really scares me a lot every time I was just, go to studio or just working on my stuff. That's why I try not to make any mistake, while I'm working on any kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm still, struggling that kind of anxiety still. But,
Hmm.
talking to my friends and, even this morning I was talking to Angela and, took a walk, and that was super helpful a lot. So yes, I think meeting people, meeting your friend or your family members also going to help you to, reduce those anxiety and stress.
Yeah. You said something that resonated, man, where it's like you trying to be perfect, and it's like that's the piece that should be changed, where it's like you're in a traineeship, you're going to make mistakes. Like, you're still learning, you're still growing, and like that's all part of the journey of being an artist. You're always going to be trying to improve and trying to get better, and you're not going to be perfect, but that's like that's the best part, like. And it's like getting used to that part of yourself, of like, you're not going to achieve mastery, you're not going to achieve perfection, so get that thought out of your mind, instead of just try to make what you can make today, and embrace the mistakes, embrace the flaws, because sometimes those mistakes lead to, like, even more beautiful ideas or beautiful thoughts. So and just chase that instead. But it's hard to balance that.
Can I also say one thing?
Mhm.
I also entered the industry older. Like, I'm now 28. And so I'm a revisionist at an older age. So that was also a piece of anxiety for me, because I watch these talented, fresh out of bachelors, 20, 18-year-old people, because I'm, the people
I
I'm
feel
like,
you. I feel you.
so it's like
Mhm.
my age was a concern, but sometimes your age can benefit you with life experiences that helps you tell stories better. Not better, excuse me, from a different perspective. Everyone's story is great. Everybody does it great. Try not to discriminate ageist. So that was my little blip there.
So I'll add to that too, because some of y'all know my story. This is my second career. I went to art school at 30. Like, I started art school at 30. So for those of
Yes.
you under 30 who are like, am I too old? No, I didn't start till I was in my 30s. So I'll let y'all do the math on all of that as to how long it took me to get in further from that. But you're not too old. You're not too old to get started. You're not too old to go to school. You're not too old to apply for trainee programs or internships, because we're all going down this, eventually we're all going to go to the Great Havens, for those of you who are my Lord of the Rings fans. So you might as well start today if this is the thing that you really, really want to be doing.
The great
And
beyond.
yeah, and I'll go ahead and answer this question because Lauren had asked this in the chat. A lot of these programs, I know for a fact, for Nickelodeon and for Disney Feature, there's no age requirement. There's also no time requirement. You don't have to have been a student in college. For Netflix, I'm not sure what the requirements are for that. Or for like Sony, I think it's a little bit different. But definitely for Disney Feature and Nick, you can apply at any time, and people do, and that's totally fine. So you're not too late, you're not too old. You just have to get started.
I did the training program in my 30s. I think I turned 30 in the training program. So yeah, no, yeah, it's okay. It's all right. There's no ticking clock there for art.
Yeah, right. Never too late.
Never too
As
late.
long as you're willing to learn and pick up a stylist. That's pretty much it.
That's it. Even self-taught people. There's some people that like don't even go to college, go to art school. They're all self-taught, and they're just as amazing, if not better.
Props to them. My God.
Props to them.
Freaking monsters. God, beasts.
Yeah. So let's, as you said, Bobby, let's get to the questions now, because we have not only questions from RUA mentees, we've got like 27 questions in the Q&A here. People
All right.
have questions, and we want to answer them.
Curiosity. Stay
All
curious.
Malcolm, I know you're like promoted to a panelist now. Do you want to turn on your mic and video? You don't have to turn on your video, but you want to ask your question for the panelists? What's up, man?
Can you see me?
No, we can't see you, but we can hear you, brother.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
My question was, what are the fundamentals that is needed to get into the trainee program? And then I had another question. I'm trying to remember the other question. Oh my gosh. Oh, what are some of the pet peeves that are in a portfolio that will automatically just get you disqualified from a recruiter? That was my other question.
We can touch on the second question that you had. I think like the fundamentals thing, I think was like covered in a panel, and
Okay.
you guys can like back me up on this. But like one thing we didn't touch on, Malcolm, is just kind of like the mistakes and that kind of stuff, or just kind of like maybe that would hurt you as an applicant. What do you guys think? Anyone can start out. Thank you, Malcolm.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Bobby.
Yeah, thank you, man.
From what I've seen, sometimes it's like navigating your website. Sometimes it just needs to be very simple and clear, and like, you know, people tend to put like a scatter shot of like everything, which I get, but we want to, if you're applying for a storyboard position, we want to just get right to the boards and just be able to flip through it, you know, because sometimes it's like hard, like it's not like set up in like a proper slideshow format, or like we have to download the file, and like it's just like we want to make it really easy to access your work. So that's like some mistakes that I see, where it's like hard to navigate the website, or it's not loading properly on my phone, or like technical stuff like that. Story wise, sometimes if your boards are like, we want to see short stories in a portfolio. We don't want the storyboards to be going, like, we don't want to see like a short film type of storyboard. I mean, if you made a short film, you know, that's great, but like we want the boards to be like quick and concise, so we can like be able to flip through it and see it all, you know. And I'm trying to think what else. Email. Sometimes email isn't listed. I'm sorry. Go for it.
Like board count, like how many boards, like ish.
Oh,
like 1,000 panels, but like maybe like 200.
Oh, please don't do 1,000 panels.
Yeah, maybe
into
like,
that, but no, don't do that.
50 to 100.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know. It needs to be a simple sequence. I don't know if it's an action scene. I get if the panel count's a little high, but you know, nothing too crazy. I don't know a specific number. Do you guys have like a specific number of panels that we would?
I'm kind of chomping at the bit to talk about this. So I was on the review board for the Nick Artist Program last year. So here are some things that will just help everybody out. 50 to 300 panels. That's a beautiful number because you can tell a story with a beginning, middle, and end, and it's very nice. Once you get past that, you have to remember that we're looking at like hundreds of applications. Last year for the Nick program, we got 2,000 applications. So we're looking at a lot. So you don't want to put your 15,000 panel opus into your portfolio. Please don't. You know, 50 to 300 panels is good. And also, speaking to Malcolm's question of what could get you disqualified, this won't necessarily disqualify you, but Mark, you spoke to this. Consider the studio that you're applying to and the type of stories that they tend to showcase. So for example, at Nickelodeon, we're children's network, preschool, 6 to 11. If you turn in like Blizzard live action style boards, while that would look really cool, part of the thing with the trainee program is we're placing you on a show. So if you have boards where people are, you know, getting murdered, doing lots of drugs, smoking, you're laughing, but I have legit seen this. Those boards are great. And this is not to shun anybody who's done that, because those boards looked awesome. But I'm looking at a board where someone's getting murdered going, we don't have any shows at Nick where people are getting off.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we would place you. So just keep that in mind. Children's network. Maybe do stories that would appeal to children.
Yes. And if you don't know, like how you're going to make your portfolio looks like, just find a good reference from the internet. Just type storyboard portfolio blogspot on Google. You're going to find a tons of reference that you can use. Just, you know, make it similar to that. And of course, you don't have to make exactly same as theirs, but it's going to help you and give you some idea what you need to do on your portfolio.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely clarity of website, and I have to second the storyboard that never ends. That the story just keeps sort of going, and that there's a nice beginning, middle, and an end. That's definitely something that's a plus. That's a good thing to have.
Brevity is key. Yeah. Mark, what were you gonna say?
Oh, hello. No, I don't know. I have nothing. I wasn't gonna say anything.
She's like, hello.
Yeah.
What do you think, Malcolm? Is that answer your question?
Oh, yeah, it answers my question. I'm sorry, I'm at
Cool.
work trying to do multiple things at time.
Hey, we support
Totally
you, man.
fine.
Good job.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah,
Thank you,
at a
Malcolm.
Nice.
bookstore.
Thanks for your question. Oh, you're at a bookstore. Cool.
Hey, read,
Yeah, I
read
work
all
at a
those books in the
bookstore.
aisles.
Yeah.
Stay comfy.
Yeah.
Stay comfy. Stay
I,
cozy.
I do
All right,
the
thank you,
books on films and cartoons, and I do the DVDs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Nice.
but thank you guys for
Awesome.
everything.
Yeah,
and,
thank you, Malcolm.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
No
you.
problem. And then Amiel Kapinpin, are you there? Do you want to start your Amiel? Yes? No? Yes? Okay. We'll wait for her.
Okay.
Ish asked to unmute. Actually, go ahead. Angela, what were you gonna say?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if Emil was there or not. Well, when you arrive, let us know. So we'll just hop over to the Q&A. So let me go. Okay, so I got a question I want to answer for Genesis, because this is, and we'll get to Eli's as well. But okay, so first off, Genesis says, thank you for doing this. I've made it to the second round of being a potential candidate for a story trainee program. So
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
yes. So their
Congrats.
question is, what can they do to push them to the final round? If you guys had any suggestions on that. I know that's kind of that
Hang
might be
in there.
because
I know.
we haven't
It's a waiting
we haven't
game.
seen her portfolio, so we don't quite know all that they've done. But
it's
And
very
just say, hang in
dependent.
there. If you're, are you waiting on news? If you're waiting on news, just do what you can to keep yourself calm and sane. I know sometimes for these things you can wait a long time. So deep breaths, deep breaths.
Yeah, stay away from your phone. Don't check your email. You know.
No, keep that phone near you.
Oh yeah, well that's true. Keep it near you, but don't stress yourself out too much. I don't know. It's very dependent, I guess, because like if it's like in the second round, I'm not sure if it's like if you would have to do another board or something, or like whatever the program requires. But usually, if you're getting to the second round, it's more of like reassessing everyone's boards that also made that second round. And yeah, it is just a waiting game. So just be patient and try to, I don't know, try to keep calm.
Do some interview prep in that time, just in case you got to do that.
That's true.
Okay. So then I'm going to combine this because we had 4 people basically ask a variation of this. So one question was tips for the Nickelodeon Artist Program. Another question was, do we need different portfolios for TV feature? Another one was catering your portfolio to different studios. And then another one was on animatics. So basically the questions are just how to tailor your portfolio for TV and feature and for different places, and also animatics, because that's always a question that comes up. So Hillary, you got your hand up.
Yes, I feel like, yeah, okay. My advice is just your strongest work. If that's the silly work, put the silly work in. If that's like the cartoony stuff, put that in. If it's the drama, put that in. If it's your animatic style boards, put your animatic boards in. Just whatever is like your strongest material. Because my portfolio was just all over the place, but I definitely just put in what I thought was like representative of my skills. And it was a mishmash of everything, but whatever you feel is your strongest work, put it in there. That's really my only advice. I don't know if anybody has anything that has to do with specifications. The studios specify animatic versus panel boards, but I think always just lean into your strengths hardcore.
Yeah, it's hard right now. It's because it's like I feel like the landscape of animation, TV features like changing. It's almost like TV boards want to lean a little bit more feature-esque these days, or like that's like more appealing. But it's like having a variety where it's like we want to see how you use camera, right? So if your boards show like, you know, very dynamic shots and like have an understanding of cinematography, but then you're, you know, when you have comedy, it's like reflective of TV, that's fine too. So, you know, you could have a board that is very feature-esque. You could have a board that is TV-esque within the same portfolio. You don't have to like separate those two. I feel like it's nice to kind of combine that to see that like, oh, this person could do both. You know, this person has both qualities to their work. And then, yeah, like strong, like what Hillary was saying, like having your strong work first and foremost, but also like what stories do you gravitate towards? Are you just like naturally a funny person and you like telling funny stories? Then if that's the case, you should have that shining throughout your whole portfolio. And like, you know, I like to like think about it where you're kind of incorporating 2 flavors or 3 flavors, right? Like if you have like a mainly comedic portfolio, and then you have like one story that's action, you know, so you can kind of show that like, oh, I'm a very funny person, but if I need to do action boards, I can do it. Or like, oh, you're very funny, but you could also do a very dramatic scene. So that to me shows that like, oh, this person understands emotion. Like they understand how to make people laugh, and they also understand how to make people cry. And we like to make people cry. But, you know, having your portfolio tailored in a way that's like, okay, if you're funny, then what are studios that have funny shows? You know, like Nickelodeon would be like a great example, right? So you want to be able to look at your portfolios objectively and like make sure, yeah, like we were saying, like you're the right fit. Because like you could also have a funny portfolio and apply to a Marvel show if it's like a Deadpool cartoon, right? A Deadpool show, because like, oh, that is comedic but it's like more adult, and does your stuff match that? So you want to be able to objectively look at your work and be like, okay, I think I am a good fit for here. But yeah, play to your strengths, you know, like don't try to like go for something that like it's nice to go out of your comfort zone, but if you're an action person, you know, have that shine, have that like show up in your work. And then you could have, if you're not as confident in your comedy, but you still like that kind of stuff, also put that in there. But, you know, we want to see what is something that you're really good at and comfortable in.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is a good tip or not, but whenever I try to make my own story, I always try to make a story without any dialogues, because one, some reviewers don't have enough time, so they just kind of skip reading, just, you know, click through, just looking at the panels, drawings only. Also, making a story without the dialogue, I think is very difficult thing to do. So if you can handle that, I think it's gonna give you a lot of plus. And what else I'm going to say? And also, if you're just focusing on the visual, then it's going to make you to focus on the character gesture more and the face expression a lot. So that's the only way they can, you know, tell the story they're, you know, feeling inside their story. So yeah, just try it.
That's a super good tip. That is an excellent tip. I always love seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So next question, we had several people answer this, so you guys may know this. If not, you'll have to check the different websites. But do y'all know if the trainee programs are open to international students or people just living internationally? Do you guys happen to know that?
So actually, one of the trainees, the cohort before me, one of the trainees actually lived in Canada and was a part of the trainee program. So I know that they can do it. Whether, yeah, and I believe she got hired on to the show that she was on as well. So
cool.
Okay, so Netflix, definitely yes.
Do we want to jump over to Eli? Eli, you're on the call.
Yeah, let's go to Eli.
Me?
Yeah, hey,
you.
Hey, you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, just your average. Is it okay if I keep my video off?
Yes, yes, of course.
Yeah, I like this Bugs Bunny. That's awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now you have to do it in his voice, though.
No.
Oh no.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Actually, I don't really have much to like add, but I guess based on everything that's been said, how often does this like mentorship program last in a given time? I think that was already gone over, but what would the usual length of a given mentorship be? Like a few months, a few weeks, so on and so forth?
It's a good question.
Yeah, I guess it's dependent on the studio, right? Some of them last like 2 or 3 months, I believe. Sometimes it gets extended. Like that's what happened to my program. Like after the 8 weeks, they were kind of like, "Oh, we're gonna extend you guys for additional, I think like an additional 4 weeks after that." You know, so I guess it's very dependent on like which studio you're going for.
Mm-hmm.
For Nickelodeon artist program, I remember it was about 6 months. So the first month we were just focusing on just interviewing the other artists and directors and making on our art book for the program. And after that, I was jumping into the actual show, working as a revisionist. So yeah, 6 months total.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think Disney's normally like a trainee 6 months and then apprentice like 6 months sometimes, but I know ours was really long. Full trainee plus apprenticeship for my class was about 18 months if you went through the whole thing.
I believe mine was like 3 months. Yeah, from April to July. I hope I'm getting that right. Please don't yell at me. The brain training program people be like, can't count. Anyway.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Eli. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, great job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eli.
Aw, that's sweet. Thank you.
What do you think? Should we go to Nicole or?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, Nicole.
So,
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you guys doing? Thank you so much for like all of this awesome advice and all your time. So my question kind of is, I'm like just out of my bachelor's and I'm kind of transitioning from a graphic design background into stories. So I was wondering for like getting your first gig, what's more important, like just your portfolio or kind of your experience, and how would you like tailor your experience to get that story role, and if there's other like conventions or networking events that are or volunteer even to like kind of get your foot in the door?
That's a great question.
So I was transferring to animation from serving a table from the restaurant. So my focus was just keep working on the portfolio only, and I figure.
Major props.
Props.
That's
But
awesome.
thank you so much. And I figure now I'm thinking that wasn't enough to get me a hire. I had to just keep go outside and meet people much as possible. So what I did was just go to convention, any kind of convention like CTN, any kind of convention that relate to animation or the light drawing classes. And yeah, you gotta, you don't have to be friends with everybody. Just try to, talk to people and ask a lot of questions to all these people, and all this information going to help you a lot later on. And I know it's going to take a while in order to get the result, but if you have the patience, then sooner or later, I believe you're going to get it.
Thank you.
Persistence. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think persistence also, even if you get rejections here and there, that's just a normal part of it. And rejections will be a part of just your career throughout. So don't get discouraged if you're, getting rejections. Just keep trying. I got rejected from Disney so many times before actually getting in. Matt Roberts knows, the recruiter knows. I was trying constantly, and I would see him at conventions and be like, "Hey, Matt, you haven't anything yet." So, just stay persistent. A rejection is not like a death sentence. It's just a very normal, natural thing, and just keep trying.
Totally.
Hillary, I'm so glad you brought that up too. I'll just interject because I have to. Like I had a friend that was like, I can't handle rejection and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, yo, that, like, when you're applying, that is day to day, and when you get in the job, that is day to day. And so the sooner that you can kind of become friends with that sort of like building a thicker skin of just kind of like, oh, the rejection is not an onus on you. It's not a reflection of who you are as a person or your skills. It's just kind of like, it just doesn't work, or it's just not your time right now. To Hillary's point, I applied to Disney like several, like a dozen times, many times, and they rejected me always. And Matt Roberts also knows my name from getting rejected.
I feel like we should start our own club, like rejection club, Disney rejection.
Oh man, yeah. And you know what though? I mean, like the thing is, like, the people that kind of like, I feel like the people that kind of eventually make it have gotten that. So like, don't get discouraged by the rejection club. I got that Pixar email that is like, hey, you're pretty good, but and you're like, oh, you send this to everybody. And that's fine. I mean, like, but I wanted, to Hillary's point, encourage everybody of like, man, that's just like one bit, and just keep moving forward and keep moving on and keep trying. And it's I don't know, Hillary, you cap this off. I don't know where I was going with this, but
can I actually speak? Can I actually speak to that? So for me, I had a really hard time getting like the rejections, because throughout my school career, and I got the internship. Sorry, it's still kind of, we're going deep, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Prepare yourselves.
Please.
So, because I think it's an important part. So it's still there, y'all. I'll try my best. I'm shaking because it's still. So when I would get rejected all the time, and I tried everything, talking to my friends, networking, talking to recruiters, and I kept getting no's after, like, I did the whole move to LA, couch surfing, like trying to meet with as many people as I can, go to lunches, and I was still getting a ton of no's. I actually got into like a really deep depression, to the point where I had to be hospitalized because it hurt that much. And I was so desperate to get in that I changed my whole like trajectory of what I was story, and then I just switched to production just to get in. So I was really trying my best to make it in. But then I, went to the hospital, COVID hit, and I just had to put up my hands and go, okay, I guess I have to take a break. I have to rebuild myself authentically from the ground up, because sometimes, some people, and I don't know if I'm alone in this, you get so like in the, I have to get a job, I have to network, I have to make this all worth it, and then you don't. It's heartbreaking. And then after I kind of like therapy, psychiatrist, and all that kind of stuff, really having to put myself back together, did the classic work at Starbucks, to really rebuilding myself up, then I started seeing some of my old network coming back, some people finally saying, hey, we have an opportunity for you. And they gave me a chance, and I had like one last rejection letter that almost broke me again, but then they came back saying, hey, you can't be a revisionist, but we'll bring you on as a trainee. So it's like, even in the darkest times, for those who really get hit, who got really hit hard, like, I wasn't that person who could just like shake it off and be like, yeah, life. It's like, it was really difficult. It's like, there is a light. If you keep going forward, there will be someone who says yes. Someone will say yes, someone will see you, and it might take, who knows, you might have needed to go on that journey to be a better storyteller. I had to. So sometimes if you live an interesting life, you might tell interesting stories. So it's like, hold that to your heart, and it's gonna be okay. And just make yourself better within that time that you hear someone tell you yes.
Apple, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for like just being transparent and sharing that with us, because that's just really important to hear, where everyone has different perspectives on how to get into the industry. And getting in is such a big thing, and it's like, it's people have come in without, that's purely self-taught. People have come in working just like day-to-day jobs, like something that's completely unrelated to animation. And so making a transition from graphic design, just graduating, going to animation, what it comes down to, it's like, the pursuit for a creative path is still possible. Like, you don't have to, no matter what age, no matter what previous career path, if this is something that you want to do, like, why not pursue it? And this is why we're all here to talk about it, because it's like something that we all love to do. It's something that we're on the grind for. We understand the hardships. We've been in the trenches. We know what it's like. And and we just want to see other people go for that too. And we just want to show that it's possible, because like you see all these, it's like easy to look on social media and see like, I'm 20 years old and I'm like an amazing artist and I just got a job and I didn't graduate college just yet. And that's awesome for that person too, but it's like, it doesn't have to be, that's not the way all for most people. And it's like, everyone has their own path. So hang on to your own path, stay on your own journey, stay on your own course, and don't let people get you down. I love how just like meaningful and emotional this talk is getting. It's like it's beautiful, because like artists are very just like fragile, like creatures too, we all understand the burden and the hardship. So yeah, I love this.
That's awesome. And Apollonia, I think your college professor is on the call too. Pam, did you see that in the bit? Hi, Pamela.
No.
Hello.
I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying not to cry.
She said, Pamela, hi, Pamela.
Pamela,
Your old college professor is here. You make me feel.
Okay, that woman taught me
good.
everything, huh?
Aww.
She taught me everything and changed my whole life.
Beautiful.
Matthews, I'm gonna cry.
Aww. So beautiful. I love
vulnerability.
Wait, what'd you say? What'd you say?
Pamela just said she's very proud of you.
Oh.
She heard me, like on the phone. I was crying to her all the time. So thanks, Matthews. Okay.
Love it. Very sweet. Aw.
And yeah, I will say, like, Angela, you can chime in before I get too much, but like, that mental health, bit, especially nowadays for artists and social media and that kind of stuff, that's rarely talked about before in years past. And I'm glad that it's kind of a conversation now that we can have, like, and people are talking about it, of just like the social pressures of like posting art on social media and your relationship to art because of that, and all that pressure. And Mark, what you were talking about, of just like, people that were coming out of school and having these opportunities. I was not that at all. I was the furthest thing from that as well. Yeah, I love that, artists are supporting each other, like mental health wise, nowadays. And so it's something that needs to be talked about, that wasn't talked about a lot before. So, and we talked about it before, where like it brushed aside, but now it's a very important thing to talk about. So where are we, guys? I'm not sure. I was like bowled over by that.
It's beautiful.
Did we answer your question, Nicole?
Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry, Nicole.
Yes. Hi,
Nicole.
Yes, thank you so much. That was something I really needed to hear, and I'm sure everyone here can agree. So thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, and we can. I'll bring Paul on, but like Hillary, Jake, if Angela, if you have anything to add to that, please feel free to share. This is a safe space, open space. And we will not tell your studios or parents. I might tell
Oh,
you.
it's fine. I just have to say, counseling and therapy are great, and I recommend them for everybody. Certain states can provide that for free. Certain states can provide free insurance if you're not yet working in the industry or if your job doesn't provide it. I cannot stress enough the importance of solid mental health, especially right now, because every day I wake up and go, oh, right, we're still in the middle of a worldwide plague. Right, that's still going on also. So yeah, there's absolutely no shame in getting professional help, talking to friends, talking to family. You don't have to put on we joke about the facade, the front. You don't have to do that, especially right now. So
it can break you.
Yes,
it can really break you.
It really can, and it's okay to ask for help. And there are people that want to help you, and you don't have to do this by yourself.
Definitely.
Please don't do this by yourself.
Yeah. And what do you think, Hillary? I felt like you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to interject that I wish I could give out hugs right now. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Nicole, for your question, and thank you for being a part of this panel.
Thank you.
I have, Paul, are you there? Do you want to ask your question? I can start your video. You don't have to start your video or anything like that. Paul Robinson?
Yes, hello? Can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going, man? Hello.
Well, thank you guys for having this panel. You guys are really bringing me to tears. This has been a really amazing moment for me to just be able to listen and hear from you guys and about your experiences. I guess I'll start with my question. Thank you. So whenever you're pitching a scene, what stays in your mind the most that helps you really get people to understand the characters, the arc, what you're trying to tell them, communicate to them?
It's a great question.
That is a great question. Like when you're like pitching through your storyboards, right? And you're like telling it. I don't know. For me, like when because I love pitching. Like pitching is like the fun part of the job, and it's like almost like you're putting on like a show for people. But it's like I feel like it's such a weird place. I don't even go anywhere. It's mostly I'm just like in the scene. Like when I'm pitching it, I like to play it as if I'm watching it or if I'm like watching it unfold. So sometimes I'll do sound effects or I'll do like voices for the characters or I'll like, because at that point you want to try to sell the story, right? And so it's like kind of like putting on like a little bit of a performance, but everyone pitches differently, and you don't have to pitch it that way. But I feel comfortable pitching behind a computer because like, people aren't looking directly at me, they're looking at my drawings. And so I'm just over here clicking on the keyboard, like clicking the next panel. I could just like make all these weird voices and it just makes it fun. But it is nerve wracking. I think if you could just take your mind out of not the people in the room, not paying attention to how many people are in the room watching this with you. Cause like when you do storyboard pitches with a crew, like you're gonna be in a room with like 10, 12 people depending, and just getting used to getting used to that feeling. It takes a bit of time, but once you're comfortable with it, it's just finding yourself just like, it's like you're telling the story to like a friend casually, or like finding comfortable and how you're being comfortable with yourself in that moment. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I've heard so many different things about pitching, different styles. It feels like a very personal thing from artist to artist, I've been told that it is like pacing, is the most important thing because that's like, you're showing the cuts and how you would play this as a movie. I've heard that. I've heard people say, don't describe the camera. It just feels very personal. I know a guy who was like the funniest comedy board artist that I've like ever seen, and he pitches everything at like a complete monotone, but it's hilarious. Yeah. I don't know how, it's like magic. It's so good. And I think just for me, like I just try to sort of get, this is like so cheesy, but I just like try to go into it and like play make-believe and try to not think about anybody else who's there. And sometimes I'll like take my hair and put it like over my face. So I don't see it. If it's a big room, if it's like a 30-person room or something, and I'm like, you know, I'll do that. But I just sort of try to go into it and play make-believe. You're speaking through characters, play make-believe.
Thank
Go ahead, Jake.
you. Thank you both. That really, really helps. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Paul. What were you gonna say?
Oh, thank you both. That really, really helps. I feel like I always get caught up in myself, and so my voice gets shaky. I get nervous. But it helps to hear that from y'all. It helps to hear like what works, and that like it happens to everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely like it is a scary experience at first, the expectation of, you know, speaking in a room with people and all that. But the more you do it, you'll get comfortable with it, and then you'll realize how fun it actually is too. It's fun to kind of put on, like, to show your work and to like make people laugh. And when you put in a joke that you felt good about and you hear the room respond to that joke, it's like a very satisfying feeling.
Yeah, like if you get a laugh and you're like, and you know, if you're doing a drama scene and you hear one person in the background go like, oh, then you're like, oh, I did it.
Do you guys have any advice on when you do pitch a joke and no one laughs, and how you get through that?
To me, if
Well, that happens on Zoom all the time now because of the logistics of Zoom, and everyone can't be so, you know, I feel like right now it's kind of like pitching in the dark without laughs. I think just get zoning into it as much as you can, and that's okay if things don't land this time. It happens. Not every joke is going to be a good joke. There will be some clunkers.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's
You'll
a
tell
good
more jokes.
The room is a good place to test stuff, and it's like sometimes you'll get a laugh, and when it doesn't get a laugh, you're kind of like, all right, well, that didn't work. And you just have to kind of go on, like you just have to continue your scene as if it didn't happen, you know. But it's good for you to know that, like, all right, people didn't laugh at that, so I need to adjust that joke. It's hard though. It kind of stings a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Sarah on the chat's like, say the line again, and you're like, another laugh, no.
Yeah.
And then you say, get it? Get it?
Yeah. and then that's where you explain why it's funny.
Oh,
That's my favorite kind of joke, though. That's my favorite, though. So you see, because
it's funny because
And some shows you don't get to pitch. Like our show, we don't pitch anymore. So now they put into an animatic and people just watch it. So it's just silence. So it's just like, well, I hope this is landing well. I have no way to know. I don't know if I'm funny anymore. Oh dear.
I think that stuff makes me more nervous than actually pitching it. When you just press play and you sit back and watch it, like, like, am I breathing too loud?
Yeah, it's like, here's my baby. Are you gonna be kind of my baby? You're gonna toss my baby out the window. I don't know.
That's just the reality of like how pitches are right now, because we do things all over Zoom or Google Meets, right? And then sometimes we have to like mute our mics and turn off our camera to save bandwidth, and so it doesn't like make the pitch lag, and it's just like a quiet experience, you know. So it's like a weird thing to kind of adjust to, from having a room of laughter to just silence, and you kind of like, I think this is funny, I hope it's funny, you know, as you're flipping through.
Paul, thank you for your question.
Yes, thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, Paul.
Thank you.
Bye, Paul. Young is on the
Young's
call.
here.
Hey, Young, how's it going?
Hello.
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 So I just wanted to ask for everyone here, although trainee programs are great, they can also be super competitive and can be like a lottery sometimes. So can you share other entry paths into storyboarding without having to participate in trainee programs?
Yeah. I started out as a revision. I did my training program after I started my career. But my first entertainment job, I did a production internship. That was when I was first starting out. And then when I finally was able to get into art, I was a revisionist for storyboards, and then worked through TV and got promoted up to boards. And so, you know, revisionist is another way to go. And I also think, your production jobs can also be really good. You can learn a lot about how, a cartoon works and meet a lot of people. And it's good. You can get a lot of information and just soak it all in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I can speak to that too, because I was a development intern at Pixar, and then I was a production PA and a production coordinator at Nickelodeon before I became a revisionist. So a lot of people start in production, actually. Like, there's a lot of people who are former PAs, post PAs, and PCs. Met a couple of people that have worked in like the mailroom who worked up to be artists and whatnot. So there's no one path. It's more of there's just certain paths that just tend to be more common because you tend to be able to get there a little bit faster. So if you're an intern or a trainee, you tend to get there a little bit faster than, say, if you work in production. But if you're in production, you tend to get there a little bit faster than if you've never been in animation. So there's different ways. And I also want to say this too, this is a little sidebar, because I see this sometimes, just to massage people's fear. If you don't get into a trainee program, that doesn't mean that you can't work in the industry. Sometimes people think that, oh, if my work's not good enough for a trainee program, then my work must just be awful and I could just never get a job ever. And that's not true. As you guys have seen from the panelists here, it's very competitive, and a lot of times the trainee programs can sometimes be more competitive than getting just a regular full-time job. I applied for the trainee program at Nickelodeon multiple times, never got in, and now I'm a board artist reviewing people's trainee applications. So it's kind of this weird thing where it's like, aha, now I'm on the weird other side of it. Our art director on Loud House, she never got in. The day she got hired as a background designer, she got her rejection letter for her internship at Nickelodeon. Same day. So they hired her to work full time, but not as an intern. So there's a lot of different ways. There's still hope. So do not despair.
I heard some story that some people actually got hired through their social media. Like, they put their own work in their, I don't know, like Tumblr, Instagram, YouTube. Some person actually got hired because they put some animatic on YouTube, some fan art on their Tumblr. Because some recruiter, looking at those stuff, and if they, like their work enough, they, then they're going to contact you and try to hire you.
Yeah. I'll build off that, Jake. That's no joke. When I'm looking for designers or story artists, I automatically go to Instagram for some reason. I think it's just because, like, with like portfolios, they're a little bit more formal, but like with Instagram, it's like, what did they post yesterday? Or what did they post last week? And what are they into? And so you kind of get a sense of the quality of their work, but also kind of like who their personality is, just because, I mean, it's not a private thing, right? So, you kind of get the up-to-date kind of sense of who they are and what they're into and what they like. So I think that's common. I mean, like, any art director or director or storyboard, maybe it's different for story, because obviously Instagram, you can't post like sequences, but I always look at Instagram first. I don't know. Or ArtStation, I don't know. But yeah, so it's 12:58, guys. I wanted to throw out an idea to you guys and let me know what you think, because this is an energetic bunch. Should we just go through lightning round? Because I don't want to miss everybody's. We got a bunch of questions, people. So here's my proposal. My pitch is, I'll bring on people. Young, by the way, sorry. How was I, Young?
Oh no, it's great. I was just listening. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much.
All right. So I'm gonna bring on people, and Angela, you see the list. I'll bring on people, and we can ask one at a time, and one person take one question, then we'll move on to the next one.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
I love the lightning round.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready for the thunder.
That's exactly.
That's right.
Let's go.
That's right. We need to have the musical cue from Imagine Dragons show up now.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, Ange, you're on the same page as I. So, Justin Nee, what's going on? How you doing?
Perfect.
Oh, wait.
Guys,
Yeah.
love it.
Great start. We love it.
Come on,
I like how
Justin.
this is going. Very smooth so far. Very
There
smooth.
we go.
Hello.
Hey, Justin, we
Awesome.
heard you for a second.
Hey, Justin.
Uh,
Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Hey,
Oh, can you hear me?
go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I had a question.
Hello.
Yeah, I was wondering, what is a good way to impress someone to like ask them to be your mentor? Because I know that's something like a lot of people take to like help develop their skills.
Oh my God, that's a great question. Someone take it. That's a great question.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, so a great way to ask somebody, I mean, we have social media now, right? And you know, I think it's like it's great to if you have some sort of rapport with an artist that you like or admire, or you know of their work. I feel like it's okay to reach out to them in a way that like you establish a bit of a rapport between them, and then see if it's okay to be like, hey, after like if say you've been talking to this artist for like a couple months, like they've been like looking at your work and be like, hey, would it be cool if you like mentored me briefly, or like if you have time, and to kind of be respectful of their time as well, because they're probably working full time. I think it's okay to reach out to that person to ask for mentorship or even just critiques. And I feel like it's okay to also just reach out to other people that you follow on social media to ask to take a look at your work, because these days you never know, like and these days, like a lot of people do look at other people's work through social media. It's just how we function as people now. And I used to be super afraid when I was in art school to reach out to people online, but now it's almost like very common. Like I've had people reach out to me to look at their stuff, and then I end up meeting them in real life, and then now we're friends, and we're like sketching at cafes together and stuff like that, and it's like it just felt very natural. So if you're nice, approach it very nicely and friendly, and people will be very open to want to help if they have time.
Fantastic.
All right, thanks so much.
No problem, Justin.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. Let's go on to Tyler. Tyler Washington, what's going on?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
Hello.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, because like this is my fear. Like when you're if you have to relocate for your program, like how did you deal with that on top of like having a new job? Sorry if you hear my puppy in the background. She's like insane. she's a pit mix, so she's a little goofy.
Awesome. So if you had to relocate for your training program, how did you cope with the living somewhere new?
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to take this?
I can.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Apollonia.
so for my program, everything was online. However, I still moved to LA during that time-ish. So yeah, it's basically telling your line producer or whoever, just telling them like, hey, I'm moving. I just want to give you guys a heads up. So that way, like in a regular job, so you can just let people know and just communicate. And then you settle in and take the time you need to, and make sure you don't have meetings, all that good stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking also like how you kind of like get used to living somewhere new on top of like a new job, like especially if you're like an East Coast person moving to like LA out of nowhere, and like getting used to like the different culture shifts as well.
Take your time. Take your time. No rush.
Sounds good.
Anyone else want to? I know it's lightning round, but like if anyone is compelled to help Tyler out with a living situation, yeah.
Join various Discords and ask. We get this a lot in the Black and Animated and the Rise Up Discord of people wanting to move in LA. People are more than happy to share links with like, here's where to eat. Here's what parts of the city are good to live in.
Sure.
Here are good apartment complexes. Here's where you don't want to live. Here's where you don't want to work. Here's the apartment company you don't want to have to deal with. So just ask around, because people have a lot of opinions, but they'll also be able to give you a lot of good information. And if you can, because this is what I did, which helped me out, if you can, save up a little bit of money and come out a couple of months before you make the big move, so that you can actually like drive around or visit or stay at a hotel or Airbnb to kind of get a sense, because if you see it for yourself first, that'll put you at ease for when then you make, you know, the really big move.
Awesome.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. Thanks for asking.
And then thank you, Tyler. And then we'll go to Stephanie Flores. Hey, Stephanie, are you there?
Hello, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Oh my God. First of all, great to hear from you all. Thank you for this webinar so far. And my question was, do any of you have any advice in terms of if you're still on the fence of even going to storyboarding at all, or if you're still kind of like trying to gauge your interest in other fields such as like character design or visual development? What are your thoughts on that?
I could take a stab at this one. I think that the school that I went to was very VizDev focused, and they had sort of a story program that was developing at the time and getting better, but there was a real push to sort of go into painting and VizDev, and I felt that push, but I was trying out story and it was like really hard, but I still really loved doing it even though it was hard and I was falling on my face and I was really bad at it for a long time. So I'd say if you find something that you're gonna enjoy doing even during the struggles, and there'll be moments of like learning and when it gets like really hard, but if you're still really motivated to do it, if you go towards character design and you're like, this is really hard, but I'm still super interested in this, or if you go and you're looking at story and you're like, this hurts, but you know, there's enough here that's keeping me, that's drawing me to this and to study it. And, you know, if you're just, you know, continually interested in it, even if you're maybe not quite there yet sometimes, I think that's how I picked what I was going to focus on.
Right on. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Stephanie, thank you for your question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. We'll move on to Nicole. Nicole, what's up? What's going on? Hi, Nicole. Are you there? Tiffany, I don't know what buttons I have to push. I still haven't figured out Zoom, guys. Nicole, do you have a question for the panel? Hello? What do I push? Nicole? Okay, so I'll just read her question. So Nicole says, loving your job enough that you can deal with the worst parts of it, unquote. What are the bad parts of your job that you accept and deal with? That's a loaded question.
How much
Careful
time
now.
do we have?
Watch your words. Watch your words.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't go on panels and say things you won't. Don't do that, man. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, that's a difficult one.
Tough one. I think sometimes I'll take a tiny stab at the art side of it. I mean, they're big group projects. A TV show or a movie, it's always going to be a group project with lots of voices, lots of different ideas, and just because of preferences or taste, you're not going to always like every single idea that comes down, but it is going to be your job to draw it. So I think sometimes you got to do that part of it. So that's one thing that I think can be a part of the job, but it's a part of the big group process. So you got to do it and you got to be supportive. But sometimes you'll see a creative choice and you'll be like, I don't know if I like drawing that, but I have to draw it. So it happens.
That's funny because Jen Lee is on the call. Jen, come on over here.
And now for our special surprise guest.
Yes, surprise guest, Jen Lee.
The head of Disney.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. That's also a good we're joking, but that's also a good rule of thumb of just like, if you need to talk your stuff, do it in the privacy like your friends.
Right.
Anyway, I'm going off the rails. What do you think, Mark? Did you have something that?
Yeah, I was gonna chime in a little bit on it.
Yes.
I mean, it's difficult to do the thing that I didn't think about when I first started getting into it was just like the idea of being creative 9 to 5, 5 days a week, you know. It's hard. It's hard to be creative all the time. And like as a board artist, the thing that you have to deal with is it's like a lot of emotional labor, where it's like, all right, your scene that you're given, this is like a sad scene. So you need to channel some of that energy into these characters. Or this scene, like it's an action scene. So we need a lot of energy here, you know. But like to come in at it 5 days a week, 9 to 5, the work doesn't stop there either. Like I'm thinking about my scenes after hours where I'm going home, I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I should do this kind of camera angle here, or like, maybe I should tilt the angle here because it's like showing a more of an emotional thing. Like I'm thinking about it more and more. And it's like having the work-life balance is really important, and boundaries between you and your work, because, you know, after a while, it's like you're going to be doing so much creative work that you're going to be doing less of your own creative work. And that's just kind of like the unfortunate aspect of it. And that's something that is just like every artist is going to have to wrangle with their own independently, because it's fun what we do, you know, nothing against it, but it's also like it is work, and it is like hard work at the same time. It's a lot of thinking involved. And you know, but you know, there's a lot of collaboration, a lot of ideas bouncing, you know. It's very fun and very active, but you know, when you come back home, the last thing you want to do is draw again, you know, sometimes. And it's like finding the balance of that, where I'm at a point where I'm very comfortable now. I as soon as I hit 6 o'clock, I throw my Cintiq pen out the window. I go back home, I'm chilling, and I'm able to read a comic and draw my own stuff and draw my own comics and all of that. But it took a while to work to that, because, you know, I always wanted that job. And once I got that job, it was like keeping that job. And then after a while, I'm kind of like, oh man, this is like a lot to just sustain. Like I could see why people get burned out. I could see why people just work themselves to the bone, and you don't have to function that way. And so work-life balance is key in this industry.
100%. 100%. What do you think, Angela? Should we go on to another one? Who's
We
next?
should. That's the perfect answer. Thank you, Mark.
Perfect.
Who's next?
Isabel, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hi.
Hi from Japan. Can you hear me? Because I have to keep my voice like very low because it's 5 a.m. here.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Fine. We can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, good. So my question is a little bit specific. It's about like earlier I was reading the portfolio requirements for the Disney trainee program, and one of the first requirements said that they want continuity storyboard sequences, and like the continuity word really like threw me off for a moment there. And so my question is just like, does this mean something specific, or is it just like storyboard sequences in general?
Yeah, I think a continuity board, they're really wanting to see like a storyboard that sort of tells a full story, that's not sort of jumping around to like not something that's like a random boards that'll tell very different stories, like a full board that tells a story in continuity with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I hope that answers your question. But I think that's what they're looking for really, is just a full fleshed out storyboard.
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much. I just was like really confused by that because I hadn't seen it anywhere else, and so like knowing that helps a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, totally. Good morning. Good morning. Also.
Yeah, but also that means you've been on this call since about 3 a.m. if it's 5 now. So more power to you.
You're amazing.
Props.
Yeah.
Have some coffee. Here you go.
I'll probably go to bed right after this. Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you. So who's that? We can do Lauren. Her question disappeared, but Lauren, are you on the call? Thank you, Isabel.
Yes, I'm here. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, hello.
Awesome. Okay. So one of the feedback that I got on some of the storyboards that I've done was just trying to do more interesting camera angles. So how do you really improve on getting those more interesting camera angles and, you know, make sure that the scenes don't feel boring?
It's a great question. I also want to know the answer to this. So, Jake, why don't you kick this off?
Like I was thinking, so I believe they just wanted to see more, how to say, like more dynamic angle. Is that what they're trying to say? I don't know. Anyway, so I guess one of the helpful things that you can do is just to watch a lot of movies that, you know, that kind of similar to your story. Like if you're doing something like an action-based story, then, you know, watch a lot of action movie or action cartoons. So watch how they use their camera angle and what kind of transition they're using. And I think that's going to help you a lot.
Okay, awesome.
I'll add to this too, because it's fine. It's like two ships in the night. We just missed each other, Lauren, because I answered your question right when you came on. So that's why it disappeared there. So that's okay. But yeah, everything that Jake said, I would like to add, there's a couple of really good YouTube channels that go into a whole lot of depth about cinematography and camera, and like we were talking about earlier, like the meaning of it, and not just here's how to do a camera angle that's cool, but here's how to do certain angles and why you do certain shots for like the emotion of the film. So there's a really good YouTube channel called Every Frame a Painting. Like 30 videos. They're really short. They're excellent. There's also a company called Studio Binder, and they have great videos on just how filmmaking works and why directors and cinematographers choose the shots that they do. And then just on a practical level, like pick your favorite show and thumbnail a scene from the show to just examine why and how they're doing what they're doing. And the thumbnails don't have to be super elaborate. I used to use a Sharpie because then you can't get super detailed and rendered and crazy with it. So you're forced to just really look at a bad Sharpie drawing of it, but that's really all that you need.
Yeah, I do have that issue of getting too detailed. So the Sharpie thing is a good idea. I'm gonna have to use that.
Yeah, it's good, especially for boards, because then when you get hired, they want you to do like 700 to 1,400 panels. You don't have time to make them pretty. You just gotta get your point across.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for your question.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Lauren. Is Ari on the call? Am I muted?
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Just wanted to say that I'm like enjoying the panel a lot. It's so good. I'm like, what? It's so cool. Oh wow. My question is my third question, but it's mainly just how do I say it? It's like how to like get programs for storyboarding and such stuff. And I've seen like TV Paint, I'm pretty sure it's called, or Storyboard Pro, but I've looked into the prices and oh my gosh, they're really expensive. So are there any alternatives to that or anything that could help, since I want to just start early? I'm 17, so I'm just starting to get into it now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're like, you haven't learned any bad habits yet. This is great.
Yas, queen. Yas.
Love it.
I'm so jealous.
Just gotta get on that grind as soon as possible, basically.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you know what? You could just go back to traditional, like the beginnings of storyboarding, all on paper, just beautiful, amazing stuff. Like,
And
yeah.
scan it.
Yes.
Scan it.
Scan it, yeah. Go on the paper with markers and markers and pencils, grease pencils.
I also believe, doesn't Storyboard Pro has like a student discount if you have a school email?
They do. So it's Storyboard Pro. So they offer, once you're a university student, they have a discount, but also a lot of schools, fortunately now, have licenses. So once you're in, if you decide to go the university route, a lot of schools have licenses for Storyboard Pro and TV Paint and the entire Adobe Shop suite. That's part of your tuition. So you'll be able to do that then. But before that, even if you're in high school, you may be able to get the student discount. Also, I think twice a year, Storyboard Pro offers a sale. Clip Studio Art has a sale going on right now. You can get stuff for 50% off. Also, Adobe Suite, you can do like the a la carte thing. We can do it once a month. You can also do the thing that I did, which was I was out of school, didn't have this, couldn't get the Suite student discount. And so I just signed up for Storyboard Pro for a month, which was like $60, which at the time was a lot. And I just boarded as much as I possibly could. And like I squeezed every last drop out of that subscription. And then I had a Storyboard Pro portfolio, because I basically just didn't sleep. So that might not be the ideal way, but that's like a way that you can do it. Or Hillary's way, which is free and less stressful. It's just learning how to draw on paper.
Well,
it's great.
If you're learning, if you're just starting out, you're still in high school, and you're learning, just do it on paper and get used to it. And this is the way the job was designed. It was created on paper, so that's also kind of cool. It's like you're doing a little bit of history.
The basics, bro. The basics.
Yes. Foundations.
For sure. I have Clip Studio right now. I just don't have the version with like full animation, only like the 24 frames per second. So I'm just like, is there anything like alternative? But now I know.
Yeah,
Thank
if you
you
can
so
set
much.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say, because I'm not too familiar with Clip Studio Paint, but if it lets you export panels like 1080 by 1920, that's film size. So then you can just do your boards directly in that and just export them to the size that you need them to be. So that'll also just work just fine.
Yeah, also props to you for knowing what you want to do at age 17.
Yeah, seriously.
When I was 17, I was catching frogs in the backyard pond and not knowing what I wanted to do in that. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot.
Isn't that right? What were you guys doing at 17?
I was actually making a comic, like a very elaborate fan comic on DeviantArt. Thank you very much. Sonic fan comic.
Oh, nice.
Come for me. I dare you.
Yeah, I was going crazy applying for scholarship. Like I was like, this is my last year of school. I don't like high school. I need to escape. College is my escape. All right, college applications, come at me. It's time to go. That's where I was.
I was going through a thing where my Filipino parents wanted me to become a nurse and get into the medical field. And it's a very Filipino thing because my mom was a nurse. And so I was just kind of like, do I want to do that? I've always drew. It was like 17 was like an existential crisis age as well.
Do you hear this story? This is like what we've gone through at 17. So you're existential crisis galore, but you're good. You're good.
Totally.
For sure.
It's okay to change your mind.
Oh yeah,
it's okay
to change your mind. You do not have to be committed after this panel. We will not judge you.
No, not at all. Not at all.
We're not keeping tabs.
It's like, where's Ari now?
Oh, we are keeping tabs.
Yeah, just try to find me.
Yeah, amazing. Ami C in the chat was writing scripts. Holy.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
who are you people? Who
are you? Oh,
yeah.
Lauren, I feel you, Lauren. Drawing anime. Yes. Also
Yes.
all the anime. All the anime.
Yeah.
So I will bring on Sabrina for our parting question, and so Sabrina, why don't you come on and let's talk shop.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Thank
Sabrina.
You guys.
Hello.
Thank you guys so much for the panel. Oh my gosh, actually, I'm gonna not have my video on. I feel like my hair is just
Oh,
tripping
it's
right
okay.
now.
It's okay.
That's totally fine.
But yeah, I want to thank you guys for being so real and authentic with all of your stories. It's like really helpful to hear everything. So I know that this is the last question and I'll go through it. And I'm sorry, I don't really know how to structure this question. It's more of like a curiosity that I have. But I was wondering if you guys as professionals in the industry, do you guys like sometimes struggle with knowing what you want the audience member to get out of your boards, like knowing what emotion you want to convey, but then still cohesively like telling a story? Like, and I don't know if that makes sense, but like I'm working on my portfolio now, and like sometimes it feels like I'm putting the pressure on like, okay, I want to tell this impactful story and I know what I want to get out of it. Like I know what I want the audience member to leave with, but then I feel stuck on like how to start or follow through with like a cohesive start to finish story, you know?
May I jump on?
Yeah.
So to answer that question, immediately I think about how I feel when I make the content. Do I laugh? Does it affect me? That kind of thing. And then you also ask, you know, your tiny group of like friends and family, how did you feel watching this? And the idea is, you know what you're trying to say. Like filmmaking and animation is all about, it's talking, communicating. So if you know what you want to say, then you can say it, versus like, and the other people do it the other way where they're like drawing and all that stuff and you don't know what you're saying. But that would be my advice. And I don't know, I've just started out here, but that was my takeaway when I was making content. Just know what you're saying and try to say it as clearly to yourself as you can, and ask other people if they see it too. Or because sometimes other people will take other things away from it that you didn't expect.
Thank you.
Also, try not to be too shy about your work and just show to everybody that you know, like your mom, your sibling, your friend who doesn't relate to any kind of animation or art. Like most of the time, I show it to my mom because when we watching the movie or animation together, sometimes she asked me, hey, what's going on over here? Because she lost the track so easily. So I was thinking, okay, if I make a story, even she could understand, then, you know, I did a really good job. So, so ask everybody that you know, what do they feel and how do they, you know, what part they get confused, and try not to explain anything, you know, before you show your work to those people.
Okay. Like searching for clarity, you know? And
Yes.
like, cool.
I also want to say, oh yeah, Tessa, yeah. Sorry, I jumped in there. I also I want to say, you asked if we ever felt that way, and yes, and all the time when I'm drawing a storyboard. And I think it's really good that you're asking yourself this question, because it's kind of, those are the questions that you want to ask yourself while you're creating a story. So if you're asking that question to yourself, you're pushing yourself towards the answer. And when I always like to board through the character. So that's kind of the sort of my guiding light. That's where I try to find all the clarity within my storyboard. And if it's reading, it's like, what does the character want? What's the goal for the character? I mean, that'll help you solve a lot of problems. Camera angles, where you want to end, how you want to support your theme. So yeah, but also I just want to say that's a really good question to ask yourself a lot when you're drawing. So good.
Yeah, that is the question to ask yourself when you're, does the audience get this? You know, because like, yeah, that's super important. And those are like the story discussions, and that's where writing comes into play. When we're talking about writing, it's like, how do you bring those ideas forward? Like if you want to make this story and bring someone to that emotional point, like it's easy to say that, but will somebody get it if they like actually watch your story unfold? And so that's why, you know, what Jake was saying, it's important to pitch it to other people, show other people work in progress. Does this make sense? Is this clear? Is this coming across? If it's not, then it's like, it shows to you where things need to be fixed. Like, oh, they didn't understand why this character was doing this, so maybe make it that part clear, so then the joke will hit later or something, you know? So it's like, don't let it prevent you from also not doing your board and getting caught up. How can I make this clear? Just like, you know, get it out. Like storyboarding, like we don't have time to like think too much. We just eventually have to get the drawings out and then put it together and then see how it feels in the room. And that's where we start like constructing it together as a crew, as a team. It's like we start moving the pieces. So if you're doing that for your own stuff, like you want to put the whole story together first and then slowly like dissect it and look at it like you're doing like, it's like another like phase in drawing, right? It's, you know, you do like the quick gesture, the rough drawing, and then the cleanup drawing. It's kind of like that with story, where you get like the rough idea, and then you kind of like clear up the main points of the story that you want to say, and then you really hit like, okay, is the first act making sense? Is the second act making sense? Is the third act, does it pay off? You know, so you want to go through it with different phases. But yeah, that question is forever gonna haunt the minds of story artists.
Perfect. I didn't know if I was overthinking or, you know, just overanalyzing, but I'm glad to hear your responses. I have a Hispanic mom, so I feel you, Jake. Sometimes I like pitch things to her because she like, you know, English isn't her first language. So I'll be like, all right, like, does this translate even without any language? Like, you know, what do you think about with this?
Yeah, my mother doesn't speak English either. So I think that's one of the reasons why I create a story without any dialogue. So everybody can, you know, so I have no excuse to, you know. So yeah, you're doing good.
Editors anyways, you know. Thank you guys so much. This is also helpful.
Angela, did you have any last words to kind of add to like Sabrina's question, or what do you think?
I think that's great. Like, definitely just everything that Jake said. I just think that's a wonderful thing. And yeah, what Jake said was great. I don't really have anything to add because I'm just listening to Jake and Mark going, yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, everything they said. Just do what Hillary said. Do that. Just do that, and you'll be in good shape. And the other thing too is, once you're on a show, it's collaborative also. So it's not like you're working alone, you're only working alone, and then you just have to turn it in and you never see it again. You're talking to your other, you know, your fellow board artists, you're talking to your director, you're showing the animatic where you're pitching it. So other people are seeing it, your director's working on it, the revisionists are working on it. So even if something happens and not everything gets conveyed, it's not like you do it once and then it ends up on the air. There are, you know, there's other folks also helping you along with that. So that's, you know, just keep that in mind too, that you don't have to worry about being siloed off. You're going to get to work with a team.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I mean, guys, we've been doing this for like, you know, 6 hours now. I think. My math is bad, but
finally late morning in Japan.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and to anyone who didn't get their question answered, because I know that there's a lot of questions and you guys have excellent questions. You know, make sure to sign up for, you know, Rise of Animation. We have signups at the end of every month. You get paired with a mentor, then you can join the Discord. You can ask your mentor questions, get to the Discord. And then almost every single animation group now has a Discord. So you can get on their Discords. And like Mark said, you know, find artists you like and just send them a very nice, short, thoughtful Instagram message. A nice short, hey, hi, how are you? Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Yeah.
We like questions. The only questions we don't like are things where you could just type it into Google, you know? So if it's something that you type into Google and you don't find the answer, ask us. We're happy to answer it for you.
And I just wanted to, again, thank you, Angela, for co-moderating with me today. Hillary, Mark, Jake, and Apollonia. Jake, you did well, man.
Yeah,
I know you were
Jake,
nervous.
Good job.
You were nervous, but man, you killed it. You and your blue void continuum. But
so much.
you did great.
I'm glad to screw up.
And honestly, Apollonia, with that like truly like personal, touching testimonial, Mark, with your experience and everything going on now. Good luck over there, over in that end place. And Hillary, it's great to see you again. Oh my God. So good to see you. I miss it so much. But these are the people. Oh, sorry, really quickly, I just wanted to say for all the attendees, these are the kind of people that you will be working with when you get into the industry. Just fucking cool, sorry, Mom, cool, supportive, encouraging artists. That these are the people that you were working with. So this industry is worth getting into. It's worth all the hard work. And it's worth meeting people like these. And you know what, when you guys get into the industry, you will be working with us and we'll be honored to work with you guys. So just seek us out and we'll be there for you guys. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the panelists and all. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Everybody
See,
else.
and this is why Bobby is the best moderator and why he's moderated all of the Rise Up panels. It's this kind of quality, folks.
Yes. So,
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, thanks so much, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah. So this is us, guys. This is our industry. So we're excited to for all of you to join us. So yeah. And with that, I will bid you guys adieu. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. And thank you so much for being a part of this. It was like chicken soup for the soul. So
oh, I want to add one more thing.
Yes,
help
do it.
each other. Help each other. Because a lot of times people think, oh, I need to meet Brenda Chapman. I need to meet Brad Bird. I need to meet Rebecca Sugar, and then I'll get a job. Those are all lovely people, so definitely meet them. But the people that will help you out the most are the people at your own level. So help out your friends, help out folks at your own level. Be kind to everyone, regardless of where they're at and their artistic or writing or production level. Just be kind to everybody and help out everybody. It's the right thing to do, and that will only help you as a person.
Yep. And with that, thank you, Angela. Closing it out. Angela, the building. All right, you guys. Well, the only way to end this is like to come forward and with a virtual hug. All right, you guys ready?
Virtual hug.
Get in there.
Hug my mic.
All right, guys.
Oh,
All right.
that's great. I love this so much.
Take care,
So
everyone.
awesome.
All right.
Have a great
Bye,
weekend.
guys. Have a
Thank
great
you very much.
day.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.